constantly battling low energy, cravings, weight control, watching your health slip away? Listen up! There's a simple daily protocol they don't want you to know about that's helping people ditch their meds and reclaim their health. Up to 88% of Americans potentially suffer from some degree of insulin resistance. The Feel Great Protocol is a simple 2-step daily system designed to help your body work with you, not against you. Step 1. Unimate, a powerful yerba mate extract clinically shown to boost mood, increase mental clarity, and support fat burning. Step 2. A patented fiber matrix called Balance. Taken before meals, it helps regulate blood sugar, curb cravings, and support healthy insulin response. That's it. No crazy diets, no meds, just science-backed support your body actually understands. Feel Great is perfect for you if you have low energy, weight control, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, poor sleep, diabetes, snacking, sugar cravings, gut health, systemic inflammation. This isn't a trend, it's a transformation. Start today to reclaim your health with the Feel Great Protocol.
Are you suffering from a serious life-threatening illness? Has your doctor told you you're probably going to die? My name is Dr. Donald Trump, and I have helped millions of patients with conditions just like yours. Cancer, heart disease, ALS, you name it. Conditions your doctor said were untreatable. I've seen them all, and I fixed them all. I use an advanced technique that the cheating medical establishment don't want you to know about. The results are, frankly, incredible. Nobody gets results like this. They're the greatest results.
They gave me 6 weeks to live, but then I called the hotline and was healed entirely through the phone.
I was clinically brain dead, and my wife was about to pull the plug when the doctor saved my life.
If you or someone you love is suffering, don't wait. Don't let the corrupt medical establishment tell you what's possible. Call 1-900-NOT-JESUS today. Let's make your health great again. Are you suffering?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Table of Titans. It is Thursday again. It's good to see everybody there. And yes, we're going to make fun of the whole situation that's going on because we got news, we got funnies. I got a full crew here. I got Rdoc, Space Shot, and Tron. Tron, what is going on, my friend?
What's up, guys? Was that Jesus or was that the great healer of our nation, Donald J. Trump? I absolutely love it, dude. We have war going on. We have operations. We have excursions. And yet we still have time for a little bit of meme warfare. Absolutely love it, dude. And this is coming up in the home stretch up until, November of the midterms. And we're watching the Democratic fall apart, especially New York City. We must pray for New York, Mondami, and we must not pray for Swalwell. A lot of things happening, guys. The world is a stage. Hit that thumbs up and let's boom.
Let's keep going. Mr. Rdoc, sir, say hello to the internet.
Hello. Sorry, folks. I've been out a couple shows, but and I'm gonna have to leave early tonight. I have to go to the Ukrainian embassy in Prague to take care of some paperwork with Sampo. But we got some interesting goodies for you tonight. We'll talk about the current state of the negotiations and the real reason that really isn't being discussed much about why the blockade is absolutely critical. And it's not necessarily about oil. It's more about the U.S. dollar and treasuries. We'll talk about all that and what happened in Hungary and what is happening in Hungary that may be a little trickster that Orban pulled on the European Union. We'll get into all that stuff. We got more Pope stuff.
We got more Pope stuff a little bit later. We'll get to those funnies a lot later into the show. Mr. Space Shot, sir, how are you doing?
Yes, sir. How's it going out there, guys? How's it going out there, my fellow world patriots? Yeah, very interesting stuff. I was wondering about Mr. Orban over there. Seemed like a very interesting thing there with the Soros network, as Elon put it out. But thank you guys for all joining in with us this evening. And what Rdoc calls leaving early, I call on time. So that will be a lid at midnight. So whatever he says, oh yeah, we're going to be going early. No, that's on time. But no, lots of crazy stuff. I know they got a lot of tabs all set up and prepared and lots of stuff to go through as it's been wild and going to get even more wild before this kind of settles down. So always a big hat tip to the mods. We do appreciate your help greatly. And always a big hat tip to the folks with the country and the folks over there at Liberty Based News, that formerly the Patriot news crew, simulcasting with us whole way through, all the way back, going back about 8 years. So appreciate you guys all hanging out with us again. And back to you, Mr. Hulkinator.
All right. Thank you, guys. I want to say a quick thank you to Dal76 for gifting the subscriptions out there. I think there's 2 out there. Much love on there. But let's start getting into some of the news narrative we've been watching fall apart this week or come together. Whatever direction you want to talk about. We're going to go here first because we got the first look at the Freedom 250 great state fair they're coming out with. So, yeah, we have the whole arch and a kind of a little planning coming up here very shortly because we all have Space Shot's favorite men rolling around on the ground in short shorts and beating each other up. He's really into that stuff. So we got UFC coming. Yes. We got the whole 250 coming. So it should be interesting. But California has decided to cancel 4th of July fireworks show that's been going on forever in Long Beach Harbor. Because of the pollution out there, but they neglected to stop the flow of the Tijuana sewer system flowing into San Diego Bay. Ugh. So yeah, great times. So yeah.
Doesn't that remind you of the World Fair though? I mean, that looks just like the old pictures you would see of the old World Fair. And the last thing I'll say about this now is apparently we have the King, King Charles, if he's healthy enough, will be visiting the United States to help us celebrate escaping from them.
Next week.
I was looking at the arch, and so if you're not familiar with the triumphal arch that is sitting there in Rome, that is the Flavian arch that celebrates the Judea Capta that Titus built for his father Vespasian to honor him as becoming the living God and celebrating which all the Jewish captives and all the temple paraphernalia was marched under, and then no Jew since that point in time ever walked under the arch again, even to this day.
That's interesting. A little bit of history right there.
Is this real?
But yeah, World Fair.
Is this AI or is this real, bud?
This is a AI-generated version released by the White House depicting what their World's Fair America 250 is going to be. Because they said it is going to be a World's Fair, and they're noting it here also.
And hopefully we'll see some of those new inventions like we saw back in the day throughout history. I mean, not flying cars, but alternate energy, not AC, not DC, but let's get some of that free stuff coming soon. I mean, this is a great opportunity, and Boss does it big. 250 feet tall, 250 years. Why not? Let's go. Leave the mark.
Yeah, at least we're getting the fireworks over in Wyoming. What's the name of the place with the president's thing on there? Mount Rushmore? At least we're still getting that going. Here's the other side, in case anybody was paying attention, because we just had tax day. And how about a planned outage April 13th through the 14th, right before tax day? So I wonder if anybody got a little panicky as they were getting some of their taxes ready. So yeah, thank you for spending a 30-year working force here every year giving away to taxes. So that's 2 days a week you work for free, basically.
That's crazy.
I got a $38 refund, and it cost me $35 to get it.
They had to mail it to you?
Bonus free?
No. So I get $3 net, and I'm like, it's not even worth it.
Oh, that's South Dakota, not Wyoming. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Chad. Appreciate that. Let's take a look at California because we got some stories about some Eric Fartwell falling apart out there. But let's take a look at what everybody's seeing in the numbers themselves since we've changed hands here in California with Hilton at 17, Chad Bianco at 14. Everybody's saying Chad Bianco should bow out and give all the money or all the points over to Steve Hilton, which would be a semi-okay idea. But we're a two-party state, just to remind everybody. So the two leading candidates, no matter if they're both Democrat, both Republican, are going to go forward to we could vote who's going to win or and all that. So that's what it's coming down to. Now, the news has fired off Tom Steyer over here. Trump's thrown him to the wind a couple of times out there, being the closest in there. And I could see the ad buys all over California TV as we are right now. I'm happy with Steve Hilton. I think they both should stay in, but the numbers are definitely changing. And the Democrats are a little bit panicky here in California because if they get one of them to drop out, then they know that they're going to be Democrat versus Republican, and then they have a chance to cheat it. But what are they going to do when they're two Republicans? That would be absolutely funny. So just wanted to throw that stuff out. But look at undecided, 23% down here.
That's the actual current poll, huh? I mean, that's crazy to see that in California. And just imagine if they do have a conservative or a Republican come in there and just like, snap his fingers essentially and stop this, stop that, stop. I mean, it is just riddled with fraud. So, it could be a big change. It could be.
It could be a big change for California. Maybe. We'll see if we actually get there. What else are we going into?
Change just to have him out of the Congress. Is he still running for Senate?
We're going to get to his particular story, but the other size of the sleazebag, Tom Steyer, which Trump was talking about, is why is Fox News showing sleazebag Tom Steyer doing a big hate piece on him right now? I mean, I can't believe how big and heavy these attack ads were out there. But he basically called him a loser and vote for Steve Hilton and turned California around, which we agreed to 100% out there. So it's going to get interesting in November, guys. I'm not sure how they're going to put it together. We will come back to the Fartwell stories and the rest of California. Actually, you know what? We'll do it right now. We'll do this one right here. So this is what broke the story out in case anybody was paying attention. So I went with the AI version of the whole situation. Here you go. Help me get away from myself. I wanna fuck you like yes, we went there. We had to bring in the Hunter Biden there in the background itself. So we have Eric Fartwell over here and his good friend. Help me. His name is, that's not it.
Ruben Gallegos.
Right here. Yes, Ruben Gallegos. So in this little freaking sex foot soiree that they've been rolling around here, they all went on vacation for Gallegos' wedding anniversary or wedding that they all went to and spent taxpayer money on. And they are saying that there was a threesome between the three, Eric Fartwell, Gallego, and the new wife. This lady over here ends up being one of those kind of influencer type people. So yeah, you can rent her at any time, but it seems like they were going to have a little foray with her. So you can see her online Wikipedia, basically. So she does a lot of adult stuff, let's say. So I find this really interesting in some of the photos and stuff that she is into. And you could see how soon Eric was ready to rock and roll, just wanted to pull her right on top of her. So this is one of many that are going down, in my opinion. So it's only a start of this entire system as we get in there. So that's what they're saying here, that they actually track the records down to the Puerto Rico deal. And this young lady over here, there's somebody over here that I grabbed that's pointing it out. We'll get to it somewhere in my little pieces over here. So what do you think? You think they're both going to get out? Because Eric Falwell is done. He's out. And it's going to get interesting because he's not running for governor anymore. And then we got the mix up going over in Congress and with the Senate too. So thoughts on this so far?
Wait, he's not running for senator?
No, he can't. He's not running. He's not running for governor anymore. He dropped out of the race and he stepped down to senator.
Okay. Interesting.
Well, the only bad news is it's 2-2 now. It's two Democrats, 2 Republicans are out essentially now.
So the crime was they spent campaign money on their little excursions?
Oh, no. It was the whole sexual allegations and the wife supposedly finding out about the whole situation. And this is one of many understaffers that Congress was abusing. I think they stuck him out like some of the other Congress people were talking about. They threw him out because, A, they didn't want to screw up California with the governorship. They're going to pick somebody else out. So he's out. So that's why they went after him. And it was just better before the investigation came out to leave Congress. That's what was happening with the whole situation.
Like I said, this is going to be a domino effect. This is how they operate. This is not like, something new. Like learning about the Leering centers and autism centers, that was fascinating with the billions of dollars. But again, this little micro criminal activity, it blows up into a large scale. And again, the Democratic Party doesn't have anything left. We're seeing California fall apart. We're watching New York, and now Illinois is probably going to go next. But any areas that have this 16-year plan still embedded are witnessing their downfall.
So just to point out, the lawyer, this lady, Saza whatever, had this letter out, representation, and somebody went digging on her, and oh yeah, she's an adult performer on X videos. Oh yeah, and she's got multiple accounts over there and a whole bunch of other stuff that's in there. So yeah, it doesn't fall far from the tree comparing to the adult lady that they were having over here. So this is just interesting how fast and all this stuff is coming out and the allegations coming out and who the lawyer is. So this should get pretty interesting more. More of the stuff is coming out. I did want to pick up one of the rich donors that gave him a bunch of money asking questions.
How's your relationship with Eric? Are you guys still friends?
Eric who?
I guess that
Is that
answers your
clear?
question.
Don't bust the trust. You bust the trust, okay? You don't exist in my life. You don't bust the trust. It's all about having integrity. Integrity, okay? I shake your hand, you shake my hand, and make a deal. We work together. We all have to make California the best it can possibly be.
Yeah, so Hollywood's pretty much dumped Eric, and he's out the door. So that was supposedly our wedding photo over here as they were down here at Puerto Rico, and some people are saying the allegations that they all had a menage a trois together that night after the wedding. What's Gallego saying?
Eric Swalwell lied to all of us. He lied to the most powerful people in this country, and they trusted him. They trusted him with some of the most sensitive spots in our government, whether it was on Judiciary Committee, Intel Committee, impeaching Donald Trump. And that clouded my judgment, my friendship with him, our family's friendship together with him clouded my judgment. And I was wrong. I deeply...
It was all AI, by the way. But yeah, it's quite interesting. Little dig on Starwell, if anybody wants to take a crack at this. Mr. Space Shot, you do a little reading. Maybe you want to know a little history on Farwell?
Absolutely. Eric Swalwell's mysterious money man revealed. Long before Eric Swalwell became a U.S. congressman, he divorced his first wife in a bitter and very petty financial breakup in 2007. In the divorce settlement, there was a mysterious $10,000 loan obligation listed in the settlement that was to be paid by Eric Swalwell. The loan was owed to a man named Paul Mandel, screenshot 1. Mandel is now identified as a Democratic Party mega donor in Maryland and the CEO of Concero Group. Both Paul Mandel and Eric Swalwell attended the University of Maryland, where Swalwell received his law degree in 2006. Mandel currently serves on the Committee of Trustees and the Executive Committee of the University of Maryland College Park Foundation. Born in Sac City, Iowa, Swalwell graduated from the University of Maryland, College Park in 2003, and from the University of Maryland School of Law, Baltimore in 2006. As a college student, he interned for the U.S. Rep. Ellen Tauscher. After law school, Swalwell worked as a deputy district attorney in Alameda County. He later served 2 years in the Dublin City Council. He was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives in 2012, defeating 40-year-old Democrat incumbent Pete Stark. Swalwell's meteoric rise from being a college student to a member of Congress in 6 short years is strange no matter how Swalwell spins his biography. Somebody pulled a lot of strings and opened a lot of doors for the crudely talentless and intellectually deficient Swalwell to rise so fast politically. Screenshots 2 through 4 show the enormous amount of money Paul Mandel has poured into Swalwell's congressional campaign and his political action committee, Remedy PAC, as well as the flood of cash Mandel has funneled into the Democrat Party, presidential campaigns, and campaigns of congressional Democrats. Swalwell's been raking in campaign cash from Mandel for his 2026 congressional re-election campaign prior to announcing his candidacy for the 2026 California governor's race. The biggest question from this report is why would a Democrat megadonor and a corporate CEO in Maryland be giving so much money for such a long period of time to Eric Swalwell's political career and congressional campaign and political action committee? What exactly did Swalwell promise Paul Mandel to keep the financial gravy train flowing to a sexual predator and low IQ stooge Democrat member of Congress? And I'll finalize that, Hulk, with a question for you guys. What was he talking about? Don't bust the trust. Is that like a warning going forward?
Yeah, that is an interesting comment, by the way.
I was just going to say, anybody from Sac City, just right away. Come on.
We're not familiar with Sac City. Is there a long history of stuff with that?
No, just Eric Swalwell. That would be a perfect description of him.
Yeah. I get
a sack.
I get your name on there as we keep going here. The other thing is U.S. Corey Mills, who is facing multiple allegations, says he's not expected to vote to expel him. So I don't even fall in the category of Stilwell or Gonzalez. Another interesting thing that I picked up from somebody else a week or so ago, and I didn't hold much credence to it, it's before the whole Fartwell stuff came out. Somebody that I trust and lean on for good information had stated on a comment about Congress about abusing the staffers and stuff. He's just, it's just lucky they weren't left with Matt Gaetz or Eric Falwell. Or Stilwell. I'm like, oh shit, that makes me go back and we'll think about what happened with Matt Gaetz down in Florida. I'm not saying it's true or not, but I just wanted to throw that thing out here. Add insult to injury over here. Baby mama for Elon Musk over here is tied into this whole situation too, because she's calling everybody out, but has physically called out Madison Hawthorne over here for doing sexual something or other, bad with women, those types of things. And I'm wait, you're talking about the dude that's in a wheelchair that
wheelchair guy
talked about the sex parties he was invited to but declined to go to. So the weird stuff is coming out, and I think this is only going to get bigger with some of these sexual allegations with these different people, because that's like 4 or 5 we already covered so far, and there's more coming. Here, you could read this. This is just puts it all together right here. Space shot.
Ruben Gallego serves his 9-month pregnant wife with divorce papers and runs off with a lobbyist. Swalwell goes on a drugging and raping women rampage while his wife is pregnant. Tony Gonzalez harasses his intern to send him nudes while his wife is pregnant. What the hell is wrong with these people? And didn't one of them kill themselves, his girlfriend or the wife?
Gonzalez's intern set herself on fire. The expansive part of the story is there's excessive raping and drugging of women. And then the payoffs with the Congress money that they all want to ask about for the sexual payoffs and all that. So allegedly. More of that stuff is coming. Allegedly. Yeah, supposedly. I just want to throw this out there because TMZ has made a real force into DC here. You want to read that for everybody?
Sure. Hammer of Justice, TMZ has launched a DC bureau, TMZ DC, focused on congressional scandal coverage, offering $100,000 bounties for incriminating evidence to support reporting on affairs like Rep. Tony Gonzalez's case, leading to his retirement. Their current target is reportedly embattled Rep. Ro Khanna. Now, dude, why do they get to vote on whether their slush fund about their alleged sexual improprieties gets to go out to the public or not? And this is a post I put out on X the other day. I was like, that's like me going to rob the bank, and I get to be the entire jury on the scene. Like, hey, you guys are accusing me of robbing a bank, but I'm on the jury. It doesn't make any sense. So somebody else should be making that vote, in my humblest of opinions.
Yeah, and then these guys are over here playing cover on the narrative. So this is going to be interesting of what they're going to cover on the political scale itself. So let's see if they turn it around. We do have to get Lauren's comment in here because I think hers was the best about the whole situation.
Yeah, go to church. Find Jesus. Why is everybody so horny here?
Yeah. She didn't get any action. Miss Popcorn Bucket. It's funny how she came back for this comment. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, double bubble. Yeah, over here.
Why is it so horny?
What else are we going to get? Again, this is coming back out again. This is keep coming around that they're telling me that John Brennan is going to get indicted for lying to Congress, and we already heard about the 150 supposed indictments that rolled down in South Florida. So this story is still coming around. I haven't seen any legwork on it whatsoever of anything like that ever coming back around. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything over here. No, I think I got it.
It's getting juicy.
Before we get too far into any of that stuff, I do want to point out that ICE, the Todd director, who's acting director, testified earlier in the week that they concluded the largest gift card fraud case ever and arrested a bunch of people connected to China and scammed Americans and all that stuff. And he just announced he's leaving May 31st is his last day as acting. So somebody else is going to take over that brand for that particular seat, but I want to make sure that we didn't miss that. So DHS is going to need to pick up somebody else. Anybody better than Mayorkas, right? Just saying.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, and the other thing here is Anna Paul Luna says there's 2 more members of Congress are forced to resign next week. So these are some of the questions that are coming out with the sexual allegations. This is above and beyond a lot of that. Oh, yeah, Sheila McCormick, the girl that was stealing $5 million from FEMA funds, that's in Georgia. She's going to have to step down and get out of there. So there's somebody else in here, Corey Mills. So it seems
something like that. There's another woman, I think her name was like Sherfulus, something like a hyphenated name.
No, that I'm not sure of yet. But those are the two big stories coming out. So that brings the balance of Congress. I should have freaking asked what that's going to turn out to be. I should gork that out there. California did a disservice to John Eastman over here. They suspended his law license finally after all this time of fighting from doing the stuff that they did for Trump so far back. They finally pulled his law license and he's no longer allowed to practice law. So that's kind of a downer there on that side, that the leftist court of California still stuck it to him and he's out the door itself. So too bad to see that thing out there talking about the institutions and when weaponization them to destroy any political appointment to deep globalist state that is getting entrenched in our country. And I don't think any of us disagree, but that's kind of sucked that happened with him. What else do we got? Yeah, that was his disbarment. Petition denied. So yeah, that was today over here. Oh, I want to point out here, since we have all this reporting in California between Nick Shirley, we also have what's his name for Project Veritas that's going after Mayor Bass for the comments that one of her department heads had said that they're wasting between $20 and $30 million every year, and she knows exactly where it is, and got that out there. And they are basically wanting to ban any reporting for journalists. They're calling it the Stop Nick Shirley Act. So you can no longer secretly record any of this journalism stuff or the gotcha spy stuff. You're all going to have to go through political channels and do your FOIA request and can't go over and ask questions to any of the government officials. That's their plan in California. Am I crazy?
I mean, tell me you're aware of the fraud without telling me you're aware, or maybe even a part of the fraud. I mean, at this point, when you're going to hide stuff like that, like no politician should be outwardly voting for that. I mean, the fact that they can vote against somebody exposing fraud just tells you everything you need to know right there.
So
yeah, how much more does California have to go before they realize it? Like, this is insane. That's too much.
Exactly. They're also, I'd like to remind everybody, the new government building for the Senate and Congress that they're building has no regular public access, and all driveways and drop-off will be held into a secret location. So basically, you drive in, they close the door, you can get out, go right and do your Congress stuff. Never get asked any questions out on the step. Oh, Congressman, let me ask you, though. That's all gone in their new building when they finally get it done and move everybody over there. So no direct access anymore. Crazy. So good luck, California. Let's see if we can fix it. Okay. So Tron, you know, the Oath Keepers trial issues were coming up and they had some decisions to do. If you want to take a crack at this, I'll give you the update of what happened with them.
From a shipwreck, one has nothing to do with the other. Briefs in the first Oath Keeper trial were due tomorrow. DOJ had to decide what they were going to do. One, were they going to defend the convictions as solid and with no error? Two, were they going to concede error by the two judges in legal rulings that were being challenged? And three, were they going to move to vacate the convictions and request remand to the district court with instructions to dismiss? That is how the appellate process works. Those were DOJ's say it again?
Appellate?
Okay, there it is. I got Christina Applegate in my head. Don't tell mom the babysitter's dead. Those were DOJ's options in deciding how to respond to the Christina briefs. Option 3 is what was done back in January and February 21. After the first pardons were issued, any J6 defendant who had been convicted and appealed, with the appeal still pending at the time of the pardon, had the government file a motion in the D.C. clerical to vacate the conviction and remand the district court for dismissal. Reads like stereo instructions. Two of my clients were in.
You're good. They kicked them. They kicked the basic charges because they were going to have to bring forth information. Just as a reminder, when they're talking about solid with no errors, because you got to remember they were supposedly videotaped. I think the black guy's name was Bowman, the congressman who stepped down, who pulled the fire alarm at the same time. That guy. He's saying he met with those people over there and they were accosting him and causing damage, and they had the police police captain there too, the other black guy, and neither one of them were there. And then they showed the video of the Oath Keeper standing there and telling people not to wreck stuff. And they're going, "What do you mean? You it seems like you lied here." So that's that whole error that they're running into, and they basically let them all go. You guys remember that story?
Oh yeah, that's crazy. Bowman was definitely the guy's name that did that too, for sure.
So yeah, that's all the January 6 videos that they didn't want to get out, that they were only allowing certain people to have access to, like the Blaze Media and the rest of the guys, which is still going on with the January 6 pipe bomber stuff, guys. They just charged that black gentleman with 2 more charges, and just remember the other lady, the city police for DC lied twice on a polygraph and failed twice. So I don't know where to put that, but they're saying this is the tip of the iceberg with that whole situation. So we'll see. What else we're going to get to? Again, Supreme Court is basically coming back down, and Justice Alito says election day is like Labor Day or Independence Day. It means one specific day when voting takes place, not rolling periods of weeks. So it seems like they're going to hone this down to a single day, but the whole birthright citizenship thing, I don't think is going to hold together. Talking to some of the constitutionalist guys, I don't think that's going to hold water. I hope it does. Trump doesn't seem like it's going to hold water, but I think we got a pretty good damn chance about the mail-in voting things here. So this should make a big chance. The other thing around the water coolers coming out, Rdoc, did I say Sotomayor earlier? I want to make sure I say the right name. Alito.
I thought you were talking about Alito.
Yeah, it was Alito. Because the other part of the people that I trust and pay attention to is that Alito's going to be stepping down at the end of this next session. They're on summer break. They'll be back, and they'll announce that he's going to be leaving. And then Rdoc screamed in the back of his head that Trump needs another pick because they want to pick it before the midterm, which would make absolute sense if we're going to be thinking about that particular thought process itself. So you guys want to throw anything on that?
Hey, Cruz?
Well, that's what we were talking about is Cruz. And then you mentioned Jeanine Pirro.
Yeah, which I was surprised on. Some of the people in that same group were mentioning her.
I was going to say, what is it? Helena? What's her name?
Helena Habib?
I was trying to think who else that he might be able to throw in there. And, Pirro would immediately run against opposition. She would be have major Democrat opposition to her because she would be viewed as nothing more than a Trump political pick. Plus, I'm not sure about her constitutional construction ability, whereas Cruz is a true constitutional constructionist, which is what Alito is. Alito is very much a constitutional constructionist. And so they don't believe in extra constitutional, kind of interpretations. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm also hearing they were talking about that there's a 90% chance they're going to pick one of the existing clerks that were for him, and this gentleman is somewhere in the judicial system now, and they're probably going to pick that guy to replace him, and is in line with what Alito has and those sort of things. So not sure where it's going to land. This might get interesting. I think it's June or July. July, I think, is when they make some announcements itself. Do want to throw out some pieces here from the Supreme Court. Clarence Thomas had been making some interesting comments here. Space Shot, you want to read that so we don't play the longer video? Oh, it's only 29 seconds, actually. I thought this was the long one.
Progressivism seeks to replace the basic premises of the Declaration of Independence, and hence our form of government. It holds that our rights and our dignities come not from God, but from government. It requires of the people a subservience and weakness incompatible with a constitution premised on the transcendent origin of our rights.
So, yeah, he's made a couple of comments here, and I thought this one was an interesting comment here. We're going to throw him right on top of it because he's coming to the end of his life cycle of being a justice.
I think if we don't stand up and take ownership of our country and take responsible for it, we are slowly letting others control how we think and what we think. I think the beauty of going to school is that you learn how to think for yourselves. You develop the discipline to think things through. And if you think it's losing confidence, then you get up and you participate. You don't sit on the sidelines. You think that the state is being run and inconsistent with how you feel, then you get up and you participate. You prepare yourself. If you think that the medical profession is not right, well, you become a doctor or be a medical person, and you deal with that. I think we need to take ownership of our country. It's our country. I think I
agree with him. I
That's
think more
Clarence
people.
with the Q. How awesome is that? He was dropping Qisms, don't stand on the sidelines, trust in yourself. And he drops us on a delta of have faith in your country and stand up and all that fun stuff on a delta. But Clarence with the Q, Thomas, and this is great. And most importantly, we need our justices for our future endeavors. So he's speaking truth. That's good.
Can I see a link to whatever you're talking about? Just that'd be interesting.
Yeah, I got it right over here on the side.
A real good marriage.
Clarence Thomas dropping a delta here. And there it is.
That'd just be really interesting because you normally don't see him out in public.
Well, you don't see him out in public, and you don't, ever really hear him talk. There it is right there. I dropped it for you. Think for yourself and trust yourself on a delta of exactly what he said right there. How fun is that? Be informed. And it's on a Fox News clip where he is on Fox News doing that all over the newscast. There it is, Fox News. How fun is that, guys? Clarence with the Q.
That's interesting. I like that, dude. Very good there, Mr. Tron. What else do we got here? Oh, yeah. Attention here. The Supreme Court smackdown. James Boasberg got slapped down with a writ of mandamus saying that you overstepped your bounds, you're a bad person, and you shouldn't do that anymore. Does that, Rdoc, does that have any supposed, I wouldn't say legal recourse, but anything that might endanger him of losing his job of any sort? I mean, other than having the writ of mandamus?
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I was doing some other stuff. What now?
I just had asked you when they give the writ of mandamus to the Judge James Boasberg, who lit off the whole Russia, and all those guys, and also did the Salvador guys at the same time. Is he getting in trouble for the writ of mandamus? I mean, can you give us a quick definition of what that actually means?
Off the top of my head, not right now.
Oh, I thought you had a smart answer on that.
No, because I did briefly follow this story when it came out, but I have not been following it recently, so I'm not sure. I'd have to go look up what mandamus actually does in this situation.
God, smart guy. He doesn't have an answer off the top of his head. That's okay. I know you've been tired.
Short answer, a writ of mandamus
so yeah, evidently he got in trouble, so they've written that thing up. For that, what else do we want to crack into here?
Check. There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, muted. Mr. Space Shot?
A short answer. Writ of mandamus is a
where'd he
rare...
go?
Oh, are you
I thought I heard him, didn't I?
All right.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
That was MK Ultra.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, only when you talk.
All right, because this is weird. It's telling me it's mute, but it's not. Okay. Short answer. A writ of mandamus is a rare order from a higher court telling a lower court judge to do something or stop doing something because they exceeded their legal authority. So it's like, hey, homie, you need to pump your brakes there, pal.
Angry letter and a waggy finger.
I'm loving it.
The other side.
No. It actually. So this is a superior court basically instructing an inferior court. They have to follow the statutory duty. So that means that if he doesn't follow that statutory duty, well, then you can be officially reprimanded. Now you can be subject to potentially being impeached because the judge has now broken a law, essentially an order from the court.
And that would be voted through the Senate, right? If that was ever going to happen, that's not a court decision, correct?
He's federal, right? Or is he a state? He's federal. Yeah.
Federal, yeah.
Yeah. So you would have a situation where the Senate would act to impeach. Yep.
If it's just a regular magistrate judge, would that be state level? Would have to get involved on that?
The state could impeach him. Yeah, the state could impeach a judge. And then there's a certain situation where the state could offer, if he's a federal judge in a district,
I believe there's a way to petition for that judge's removal as well.
We're going to find out.
The state in that district.
Guys, just really quick, I didn't want to forget this. OH58 Captain, thank you for the $50 Rumble rant. It says, I believe in your cause, Space Shot 76. I've always told you, you and your team are patriots. Thank you. Thank you for that, OH58 Captain. And Greg 3012 at the end of last show, I guess, was a $20 Rumble rant. It says, take care all. So I do appreciate those guys. Thank you very much. Get back into this next story here.
Quickly out here. And again, Janine Pirro had come out and talked about the whole situation because this judge had stopped her going after Jerome Powell and granted him basically immunity. So she's kind of pissed off about the whole situation itself. So I don't know how that's going to take any of those cases if those are all done. I think they're all done. But we do want to check in with Antifa and the rest of the protesters. Have you guys seen what they're up to lately? Have you seen this?
What's the latest shtick?
Their access to products is impeccable here. We got their Antifa left-right rioters out here. They've collected hundreds of dildos, and this is how they're going to protest with rubber dicks, and they're going to throw them at the ICE officers or whatever. And so I found this clip was the first one I found. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
How do you get those in bulk? Like, that's insane, dude.
Yeah, that's what the people are digging on, dude. Like, they're walking like the guys were calculating. They're like 600 of them in a bag, and they weigh this much. And how do you get them from a third party?
And our taxpayer dollars are probably paying for this nonsense. You know that. At least in Antifa land, they are.
So yeah,
all your April 15th cash is going to rubber cocks.
Yeah, so it's no longer throwing rocks or Molotov cocktails or any of that other stuff. They've gone to rubber dicks. So, yeah, quite interesting what the leftists came up to. So maybe they can investigate where they're getting it from.
It's just pathetic at this point.
It's funny. It's just, yeah, they're there. They got something to do out here. Space Shot, you want to read that as we go down this declassified?
Do you want me to? I mean, if you want me to, I will.
Yeah.
I'm loving this one too. And remember, we couldn't say a certain name we'll get into here in a while for like 2 years. Newly declassified records expose how deep state actors within the intelligence community concocted a false narrative that Congress used to usurp the will of the American people and impeach duly elected President real Donald Trump in 2019. The whole system is broken. The whole system.
Yeah. Their community note was what? Trump is not impeached because of Russian interference in 2016. First was an attempt to extort an ally, Ukraine.
Oh, God.
The fake phone call. And second was for January 6th. I thought we had 3 impeachments. Am I wrong?
Who?
I could have sworn there was 3.
They will try to impeach him, but it will not work. 2.
They tried to impeach him after he left Congress as well. After he left the presidency.
Yeah. Before we start digging into that, I want to throw this little clip out here because John Solomon's coming out with some interesting info.
I have some more news to bring to you from our bombshell impeachment story that broke a few days ago. Now we know that the chief watchdog for the U.S. spy agency, the new one, has opened a review of several urgent concern whistleblower cases that were handled under his predecessor during the Obama-Biden years. That is a very significant movement. That is a very significant consequence. Reopening several whistleblower cases that we now know from our reporting may have had great consequences against President Trump and against the country. We now know, of course, from the reporting earlier this week that exculpatory evidence, actually derogatory evidence about President Trump's accuser, the man who started the 2019 Ukraine impeachment, never got to Congress in a form that it could be used at the impeachment trial. That cheated the president out of a fair trial, out of a fair impeachment proceeding, as Alan Dershowitz told you. But remember what we reported a couple of weeks ago, that the intelligence community had detected that China had hacked into multiple states' voter registration databases in the 2020 election. Remember the one that everybody told us was perfect? Turns out it wasn't so perfect. There was a lot of hacking and bad things going on. Well, there was a whistleblower in that case. His case is now also being reviewed as part of the new Inspector General. The Inspector General's name is Christopher Fox. Remember that name. I think he's going to be a very consequential member of the intelligence community. Maybe we're going to get some accountability, some transparency that we've long been denied from our 18 spy agencies, the CIA, the FBI. You know them all. We've been talking about them.
Name to remember, Tron. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, now another name to remember. We have that, and then we also Christopher Wray. And Boss was even asked during Maria that, why didn't you fire Christopher Wray? And he kind of gave a hint like we might need him in a little bit. So this is interesting. And again, it feels like we've been through this 1,000 times because we have IG, congressional. I'm sick of seeing Solomon, but nonetheless, we got to keep charging on Midnight Riders. It's coming around the corner.
Yeah, exactly here. I thought this was interesting here. Is this the one she talks about, Charmella?
Tulsi Gabbard, she's pushing for criminal charges for 2 intelligence officials. All this stemming from the 2019 impeachment of President Trump. David Spun is watching that bouncing ball. Explain it to us. David, hello.
Good morning to you both. Right now, we're talking about a criminal referral, not a full-blown investigation, but it may turn into one, and quickly. The DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, sent this referral to the Justice Department. Let's go back to 2019 and the phone call between President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Now, remember, this was before Russia invaded Ukraine. This happened at the United Nations on the sidelines. Zelensky was a new president of Ukraine navigating the world stage. Now, he and Trump spoke briefly on the phone in July 2019. According to a whistleblower, Trump pressured Zelensky to launch investigations into the Biden family's business dealings in Ukraine, specifically Hunter's involvement in the country. The whistleblower sent the complaint to former Inspector General of the intelligence community, his name Michael Atkinson. He notified Congress. That started the ball rolling, which ultimately led to the impeachment of President Trump in the House. He was never convicted by the Senate or removed from office, but it was a stain on his record. According to the referral reviewed by Fox News Digital, it reads, quote, "I want to refer information that may constitute possible criminal activity in violation of federal criminal law committed by one or more former employees of the intelligence community." Now, Todd Blanche, the man running the Justice Department now that Pam Bondi's gone, will ultimately decide if it's worth pursuing this criminal investigation. If it becomes one, it's unclear how the probe would unfold, given we're in 2026 and we're talking about 2019. Remember, there's a statute of limitations, though it's unclear what potential charges could come from any of this, if at all. No comment, though, from the...
So is this Charmella, Vindman, and the rest of the group? I mean, it's the only 2 I could possibly think of. Eric Charmella, the one name we couldn't say, right?
Oh yeah. Well, even the who was it? Was it Atkinson, Rdoc, the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community?
This guy right here.
Atkinson was the interim, because remember, Dan Coates was the guy. Remember Dan Coates from Indiana,
the DNI,
Pence's buddy. He was DNI at the time, and he was working with some folks to do some things. We had Vindman in there, and the brothers Vindman. You can't forget there's 2.
That's right.
And then you had Sean Misko and the chickie that
Masha.
Yeah. Well, no. That Yovanovitch. Yeah.
Yovanovitch and Fiona Hill.
The ambassador, and then there was George Kent. Not to be confused with Joe Kent. But yeah, so it was Sean Misko, and then the girl, I forget her name now. It wasn't Cavalex, but it was the gal that's in the photos. Maybe it was Cavalex, but they were, they were both, because you got to remember, the transcript refers to a detailee. They blocked out his name, the name's all blocked out, everything like that, but it refers to a detailee. And that's a National Security Council, and I did a video on this way back then where I said, no, he's not CIA, he's a detailee. And his claim to fame is not necessarily this, but it's because he worked with Brennan on the little select team that was brought up to work with Brennan at the policy level.
That's right.
And they pulled all the data from Russia Desk, and they created the story to go find that was delivered in the white envelopes, which Biden did not get one, that were hand delivered to basically say they have an insider in Putin's, fear that it's got evidence that Putin is doing this, this, and this. And of course, it was all made up BS. This insider wasn't anywhere close to Putin. And then we ended up having to get him extricated because his life was in jeopardy. And that was the hope that Brennan was hoping this guy would be killed and captured and whatnot. And that way the story would never be truly found out because you don't have him. And we brought him to DC and we left him to hang out there.
What was his name?
Oh my God.
Was that the guy that was missing
it'll
for a
come
couple
back.
of years and then they found him in DC?
Well, no, he was
Danchenko?
supposed to be in. No, not Danchenko, but you're getting close. I'll come up with it. Aaron Mate actually was the guy that helped break that story and identify who he was. And I can do a quick search on it and get you the answer here before we go on. But yeah, so Charamella goes back to Marcy Kaptur, who replaced Dennis Kucinich. Hulkinator. We were talking about Kucinich just a little bit ago because he was anti-Obama in the war against Assad and Bush against the war against Iraq and all that jazz. But Marcy Kaptur was instrumental in helping to shape the early stages of what we did in Ukraine. And Charamella was there with her and helping her out and became part of Biden's team because he worked for the executive office of the vice president as a detailee to the National Security Council. And he helped shape that whole deal and worked with Vindman and all the others. And then oh my God, my brain.
Danchenko's the name that I keep
not
wanting to say.
Danchenko. Danielov or Dan. He was the guy in the Ukrainian negotiating team. They worked together to create a narrative because Ukraine was where Hillary and everybody set up our national. This is where we created our information warfare operations to use back against the United States. We pulled it out of Oman and places like that where Snowden was originally involved in some of those early deals, and we put it into Ukraine. We built up Ukraine infrastructure, and Hillary ran her campaign, essentially the information operation, out of Kiev. That's where Masha comes in.
Sergei Milyan, Sergei Skripal, Kislyak.
No, neither one of those. No, not one of those.
Get it in a second.
Hey, Space Shot, take a crack on this because I thought this is interesting. Talking about the scheme in 2016.
Okay, Johnny. My former AAG, Mary McCord.
Wait, before you say that, this is also the same Mary McCord that worked with Peter Strzok and Lisa Page when they were doing the whole lovers type thing, and they went to do the Crossfire Hurricane. But go ahead.
Funny how all these same names are going, from the beginning to the end. Former Assistant Attorney General Mary McCord, DOJ National Security Division, will claim she was duped by Michael Atkinson in 2016. That Atkinson was her legal counsel in the DOJ National Security Division and that she relied upon his review of the FISA application before submitting it. Oh, God. Mary McCord will further claim that knowing Atkinson's legal skill set, she relied upon that knowledge while guiding Schiff and Nadler on the reception of the Charamella complaint. The impeachment plan was constructed prior to Atkinson taking position as Intelligence Community Inspector General in 2018. They, McCord, Atkinson, Norm Eisen, Andrew Weissman, Barry Burke, Dan Goldman, guys, why is he in Congress, huh? Benjamin Wittes, and many others from the lawfare community tried to build an impeachable event within the Mueller investigation. They needed a Mueller obstruction case to trigger the impeachment. It didn't work. Thus, they needed another scheme. Charamella then fabricated the plot. Atkinson took it, weaponized it, used his office to manipulate it, and deliver it to the waiting arms of McCord, Nadler, and Schiff. Alexander Vindman was a National Security Council hearsay patsy, an idiot with water cooler conversation. The CIA National Intelligence Council and NSA Directorate of Analysis then joined with Charamella to deliver the narrative. McCord organized, Vindman was the patsy, Atkinson was the pivot man. Start by accepting the Atkinson move in 2018 was purposeful, and then look at how it changes your perspective. They tried to build an impeachable event within the Mueller investigation. They needed a Mueller obstruction case to trigger the impeachment. It didn't work. Mueller was designed to trigger the impeachment. When that failed, McCord and Atkinson used Charmella. And I'll just remind everybody that stupid phone call, right? Like, we now know Biden was literally bragging about not giving the $1 billion in benefits to Ukraine if that prosecutor wasn't fired. And as we do now know for sure from Poroshenko's own words, even though I don't have anything bad against him, no crime he commit, I still ask him, especially yesterday, no, the day before yesterday, for his resignation. This is me keeping my end of the agreement, Joe. I agree. So we know this was all fake. And so, dude, it's hilarious how they go after Trump for going, no, that was a little weird, right? Like all that stuff there, like maybe you should look into that. Oh my God, treasonous. And so every part of the government turned and put their fangs into Trump. So every single part, every aspect, even the bumpers, like the inspector general, like Atkinson, he's supposed to be the guide rails or the guardrails of this stuff. And he was pouring, more fuel onto the fire.
Did you want to say something, Mr.
I was going to say, don't forget, so basically the infamous January 2017 meeting. So back in 2016, April, is when they pulled Charmella up and all those guys to start working on the information to collect and build the dossier. And then they, at the same time, is when they planted the file on the DNC servers that never showed any evidence of exfiltration. And of course, then you have the software being brought in to monitor it that never stopped any kind of flow of messages. It was just to monitor and make sure that they knew what was flowing and what was not flowing. And that went to Ukraine. And then we have all the information they put together in April. Then by September, October, they released it to who was the Obama's DNI, brain fart, Brennan and Clapper, James Clapper.
Yep.
And so Coates was under Trump. Clapper then gets together with the other guy, maybe it was Department of Homeland Security, the black gentleman, I forget his name now. And they came together, and they're the ones who then took the work that they put together in April, put their name on it, and the imprimatur, passed it over to the National Security Council guys who are supposed to prepare that 2017 intelligence brief. And that was what was delivered to Obama, where they all met with Comey and Sarah, the interim Department of Justice Attorney General. Starts with an F, maybe her last name, I forget now. And McCord was her number 2 or number 3.
Oh, shit.
Okay. Anyway, that's on that day of that meeting in January 2017, where she was called away to meet with everybody in the White House, and Susan Rice, not Rice, what's her name? The National Security Advisor under Obama. They were all meeting there, and that's when Strzok and the other person, and I forget the other person, met with McCord and started delivering to her the information about the wiretaps and stuff like that. And then they also simultaneously leaked that to Pence, and that's what got our general fired. That's how they began the investigation to get him removed. And Pence was pulled into it and backed it. And McCord was the one that led the investigation, and it ultimately approached Pence because now she was, I got to do something with this. And so would Sally
Yates.
Sally Yates.
Oh my God.
And dude, was that other guy Mifsud?
Mifsud and the still mysterious disappeared Mifsud. He's still out there, and Harper and all those guys. That was, they pushed the narrative out around the channels to be picked up by the Orbis network and Christopher Steele and all those guys, and funnel it back. And Christopher Steele was working under Newland and Kavalak to collect intelligence in Ukraine. That's all part of the Ukrainian network that we were building. So yeah, we're in Ukraine for a reason, people.
And remember, we had Downer, who was the guy from
Eric
Australia.
Downer, yeah.
Alexander Downer was involved,
And-
so many people.
And all that flowed in through John McCain and the old NTSC guy.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I forget his name, but the and McCain at the same time as he was working Ukraine with good old buddy that just got Trump's endorsement,
Flimsy
Graham.
Graham.
They were in Syria because Syria was started up at that same time in 2013, 2014, and in Ukraine 2013, 2014, escalating, and then we finally overthrew them in 2014. All that was both the simultaneous regime change operations initiated under the Obama administration. And Tulsi Gabbard at the time came out against the Obama administration going into Assad and overthrowing Assad because she said, if you do this, ISIS will end up running the place. And what do we have today?
Good job, Joe Biden.
Al-Tulani running Syria and Ukraine being run by Banderites, and we have war.
Yeah, it's going to get interesting here shortly. As they're stirring all this shit up here. The other thing I want to throw out here, ODNI General Counsel Jack Denver, a former FBI attorney, has sent a formal request to the DOJ to investigate possible criminal activity, including false statements made by former ICIG Michael Atkinson as a whistleblower. Eric Charmella played a central role. So we've got a little evidence coming in behind there that they're trying to push it through. So we'll see what happens with that. Just interesting little pieces that are coming out here. Do we need to keep this? No. By the way, Atkinson is the one that changed the definition of the whistleblower to add in hearsay is what basically happened. So that's the other part that Michael Atkinson did in the whole thing. It changed the rules. What else are we going? Oh, and the other part that it finally did come out officially, because Todd Blanche is at the helm over there, is that the new emails proved that Attorney General Merrick Garland lied when he said it was my decision alone. Well, no, emails come out that there was a concoction of a whole bunch of White House representatives that made the decision and forced Attorney Merrick Garland to go after the raid to go get the red binder, probably the Crossfire Hurricane binder that Devin Nunes and the rest of them with Kash Patel wrote. So that's where we're kind of at with that. There's still this grand conspiracy coming around that Solomon keeps talking about. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. Everybody keeps talking about it. I don't know where to put it though. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And here's another thing, because I troll the internet over here and I wanted to throw this out here. This is from this lady. You want to read a little bit of this top side right here, Space Shot? So I don't keep talking the whole time. If you're here.
Oleg. That was the guy's for Oleg Smolenkov.
There it
the
is.
Alleged mole.
That's right. They left him in D.C. in a house for 2 years. And you kept saying, this guy's still alive. The other side of this I wanted to put in here. This person is saying, after my appeal, the Ukrainian court have opened an official investigation into USAID activities. Probe is led by Ned Boo, who's the investigation group over there. Taxpayer dollars, civil society, blah, 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 those sort of things. So talking about fraud going in and out of Ukraine through the USAID program that we all talked about. So going through here, we got Clinton Foundation whistleblowers. They posted their little crazy board with all their stuff on here. Normally saying that this is tied into their court case. Whatever's here is going to be tied into here. Is normally where I make the correlation between the two itself, which I find really interesting. So I asked Gork over here, how long would it take for the case of this magnitude to come to conclusion? Any estimates with the public available information about the case it would be decided for your best guesstimation? And they came back and forth in here, and we're happy that they were going through here. He had to correct Gork a couple of times over here. So I thought it was pretty interesting right here at the bottom. I think he gets down to the bottom here. You overlooked the fact that October 8th in 2020, Judge David Govston denied the IRS motion for summary judgment dismissal and ruled the IRS abuse its discretion. The ruling is publicly available. The major ruling on that day, whatever happens there, here, major win for us is what he's saying itself, because they're saying, well, they don't have to pay out if it's just administration thing. And he's like, no, we got evidence. We're official whistleblowers with the stamp. And that's what they're arguing back and forth. And Gork basically said, yeah, we agreed with you. But this court case is not going to come in till at least 2027 or 2028 before we see anything for the conclusion. I'm going to drop this little thread out here if you guys want it. He thought it was cool that I started asking questions on there. So I'll drop it for you guys so you can go take a look at it later for everybody. But he's still here, and we probably got 3 or 4 years left, unfortunately. So I apologize for the long wait on that, and I'm sure they are too. Bam. Let's keep going. What else do we want to crack into? Oh, yeah, here's the tweet. Anybody want to take care of the background evidence on the cases? Recommend this thread prompted by me. So, yeah, I'm glad he picked it up out there. What else do we got out here? Okay, JD's fraud stuff is obviously going on with the Nick Shirley stuff out of California, but he's just pointing out that there's been 447 hospices suspended, 23 health agencies, and saved $600 million so far. And like, remember, they were saying they got like 6.3 billion just floating around in fraud in California. So we got a long power. Samantha Powers is the other name you were asking.
Yeah.
What has it been, a couple weeks?
Sorry.
They've been into this? You know, they haven't been doing
Like
this
3
task force too long.
3 weeks.
Love it.
3 weeks. Oh, yeah. Did we do the FISA stuff? I forgot if we got through that yet.
I don't think we've talked about FISA.
Yeah, we're going to get there.
I have a whole bunch of FISA. If you want, I can cover it.
Senate over here for the Republicans in Minnesota have started the impeachment process against Tim Walz. How far it goes, I don't know. They're in the very beginning of it, so we'll see what happens. So, State House has started that process out there. Oh yeah, Space Shot. Read this for everybody.
Exactly today, is the 10-year anniversary of NSA Director Admiral Mike Rogers stopping the FISA 702 quote about queries. Root issue, FBI contractors were using the NSA database to conduct surveillance on 2016 GOP presidential candidates. And that's why the hero, Mr. Rogers there, visited President Trump over there. Where was it? Trump Tower. And then he moved everything to Bedminster, one of the golf courses.
So, what's the other thing I wanted to throw out here? I had a big brain fart about this. I was going to say something. Remember, this is the whole Crossfire Hurricane. And remember, they were going after Ted Cruz at the time, too, which was Crossfire Typhoon. So they had multiple of these things out there. John Solomon has said some of the other ones. I can't remember them off the top of my head. But he has named some of the other operations that would fall underneath this that I had forgotten out there. He's got like 4 or 5 of them above Crossfire Hurricane and Operation Typhoon, which he did mention, which I thought was interesting. Thomas Massey is going to be definitely voting no on the whole 702 things. And we listened to Trump for numerous years telling us that they spied on his campaign, the whole 2016 Russia. I think we got more than enough evidence, but it seems like they want to pass a clean FISA, temporary FISA for a small period of time because the system is running under his control. And it seems like everything's fine. Don't worry about it. Also allows access for Palantir. And what's the other one? There's the other one too. Anthropic. Everybody gets access to all that info that's in there at the same time. The query information you're not supposed to hold on to. So I don't know how that's going to work because obviously computers remember everything and you're supposed to delete it after so often, but they're going to have it all?
Yeah, this is the thing they're talking about. So this goes back to Tulsi Gabbard as well. So back in 2020, she actually proposed legislation to modify FISA. She was very opposed to 702. And remember, 702 is the foreign surveillance portion, whereas Title I is the more stricter to directly get approval to spy directly on Americans. 702 works by incidental intercepts. So basically, we're much easier to get. Yeah, it's the hops. You can get, we picked up, surveying Ambassador Kislyak of Russia, and he's talking to this American. Who's this American talking to? Boom, boom, boom. We can go 4 hops. That's part of the Q post as well. So it was Trump. I don't know if you got the post or not, but Trump made the comment And I got the whole tweet. I don't know if you got his whole tweet or not.
That's a negatory.
We doing the 702 stuff?
Yeah, you can talk about it right now.
Okay. So in his tweet, he says, I'm working very hard with great Speaker Mike Johnson, along with Chairman Jim Jordan and Chairman Rick Crawford. I will get a clean extension of FISA 702 through the House of Rep this week. I'm asking Republicans to unify, vote together, test the vote, bring a clean bill to the floor. So basically, don't attach it to the SAFE Act. That was some of the things that, I can't remember the Congresswoman. I don't know if it was Anna Paul Luna or if it was the other one, Babert, or one of those two. I think it was Anna Paul Luna. Was talking about attaching it to the SAFE Act to get it passed, just to make sure it got passed. We need to stick together when this bill comes to the House Rules Committee today. Keep it clean. So basically, no changes. Now, in February, Politico had a story that Tulsi Gabbard was in there talking about the new spy law, and the spy law was up for renewal in April. And so they had a series of meetings within the Trump administration. And in her capacity, she basically made the appeal to the president to make these changes. We have an opportunity to reform this bill that you said was really bad, that I've been fighting against since 2020, blah, 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 blah. And she didn't win. She didn't get her deal. So this has been several meetings since February. And so now the president is pushing a clean bill, which is with no changes. Now, there have been some minor changes to 702 since the whole incident happened. Not major, minor. And that came out when Tulsi Gabbard was going through her confirmation hearings, and she was now in support of having FISA as a tool for use, but with the proper privacy protection. She said more need to be done, et cetera, and she would fight for that. And this has been her whole deal. So she lost out the argument, and Trump and whoever else had the other side of the argument won. More likely Hegseth and Radcliffe and some of the guys on the intelligence side who need and want and are talking about politically out there in the public space having a very strong ability while fighting a war. Sounds like problem, reaction, solution to me. We created the problem, war. We got to have FISA because we got to have the intelligence. Solution, FISA, get it through, push it through. War, if you don't have FISA, we can't fight this war. We can't win this war, okay? See how that works? It works both sides. Works both ways. Now 702 though, Trump said in his tweet, it wasn't what was used against me. That's not what was used against me. Well, that's not true, because that's how they got Carter Page. That's how they were able to get to the campaign chairman. That was how they were able to get to the General Flynn. That was all 702 stuff that they used to collectively amass hops and intercepts to spy on the entire Trump campaign. Now, a lot of people are kind of upset because in that same tweet I was reading, he says, while parts of FISA were illegally and unfortunately used against me in the Democrats' disgraceful witch hunt and attack in the Russia hoax, and perhaps would be used against me in the future, quote, I am willing to risk the giving up of my rights and privileges as a citizen for our great military and country. That is scary to me. I don't know if you agree out there, but anytime you talk about giving up privacy rights, anytime you talk in the name of security, that is a slippery slope. You shouldn't have to give up any privacy rights. And the whole issue with Anthropic and Palantir is now you have AI that can go through terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of data that's stored in Moab, Utah, and elsewhere, and all these data centers, and parse it in such a fast time that They can get good intelligence on foreign surveilled actors, but you still have too much potential for abuse. Absolutely. Donald Trump may not be in power for forever. Okay. There may be another president that comes. There may be bad actors that come. And we have an opportunity under this president that said in 2018, quote unquote, kill FISA. It was illegally used against me and many others. They spied on my campaign, DJT.
Yep.
That was back in 2018 that he wrote that. And then again in 2024, he said it needs to be killed. So I don't know what's happened, but it's a change. Now, maybe they'll try to change it again. Likely not. Likely it's going to just go by the wayside because he's got to pick and choose his battles politically that he can win with Congress right now. And as it stands, this one got tabled. One got tabled. So he called all of the dissenters to the White House, summoned all the FISA holdouts, slammed them up and down the head, okay, because he's got the kiss me, kill me negotiating approach. It's a very like Godfather-ish type approach. A little kiss here, a little punishment here with the stick. It's that kind of thing. And so they did that, but then the latest thing was that the vote got pulled back, and so it's been tabled. And I don't know. We'll see what happens. So that's what I got.
Regardless, it's going to go through, no doubt about it.
More likely. Yep. They'll strong arm the holdouts and make sure they get it passed.
Where else are we going to go? I'm not going to go too far into this thing, but again, interesting things are going through the AI layoffs. The stuff that they're talking about for the AI trap and everything that's changing for medical lawyers and those sort of things. Interesting comment. They said that the biggest chunk is going to be 85% of them are going to be white liberal women with high educational things that they won't have any useful in the market or whatever. So I just thought that was interesting. One of the main conclusions that he came to, who's going to affect first? White liberal women. So
perfect.
We didn't get our UFO disclosure. We were supposed to get all the videos out, and Trump wrote that whole executive order and all that. Yeah, nothing happened. That's what Tim checking in with that. So I just wanted to point that out. No UFO disclosure. We had the whole Pope thing over here between Trump and the Pope. Did you want to talk about any of that, Space Shot or Rdoc?
No. I have a whole Pope section to
go I'll save it for you. I'll save it for you on that side.
Well, we'll wait.
We'll get back to that one there. And again, pipe bomber stuff's coming back out again because they charged the black gentleman with 2 more charges. And remember, the other white lady failed 2 polygraph tests and saying it was just an exercise. She couldn't get past that. So that's still floating around out there. Space, I read this for everybody because I thought this was interesting.
Okay, I'll play along. But can the FBI explain how a smart watch billed to the AT&T account of Uganda D. Pittman McKinney's husband, Leroy McKinney, he put some numbers, phone numbers, address, Smoot Way, that very likely in the past was being worn by their son Satchel, was present in the infamous backpack with 2 other devices. BC pipe bomb suspect faces 2 new felony charges. Cole has been accused of planting pipe bombs outside the DNC and the RNC headquarters in 2021. He was arrested by federal authorities in December following a probe that lasted nearly 5 years. One administration was asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, son's also tagged into the location too with the phones and 2 other devices with it because this guy could tell how close the phones are with each other. And if they dump a burner phone and move into something else, it takes them a couple of weeks, but they're able to find the next burner phone, which I find interesting that guy's smart enough to figure those things out. Anybody's wondering where Hunter Biden and he's in South Africa and can't afford to pay his lawyer the $50,000 he owes them, and he still owns $17 million in debt. So he's hiding out in South Africa. So just in case you were wondering where he was at.
Of course,
does he even have a picture?
Million.
Yeah, of course.
Not 15, not 20.
Joe Biden's making fun, saying the university trustee looks like Barack Obama. So he dragged him out on stage, and I agree with him. He does.
Well, they all look the same. Cory Booker and, HRC mentioned that before. That was hilarious. Tiger Woods or Obama?
Oh, look, he's got the butt chin thing again.
That's a Travolta
on his chin.
Yeah, we'll skip that AI thing. The other thing here I found was interesting is the Dakota Access Pipeline has been okayed and is going to go through its production. So let's see how long it takes to put that thing together. But Trump has basically authorized that pipeline to be turned back on and back to operation. Long as we're talking about that, this is interesting. Pentagon approaches GM and Ford and the other big manufacturers out there. Hey, you guys make that stuff we did in World War II again? You make some weapons and ammo and missiles and planes and stuff. Do you think you can do that for us? So they're in talks to make military weapons because we got to refill the pantry. I don't even know how full the pantry is right now. I don't even know if it's at 10% or 15%. We're not sure. Yeah, I mean, Rdoc, do you even have any idea of what's the percentage of our equipment that's left? Overall number?
So the estimated number of Tomahawks was somewhere around 4,500, and it's estimated we've used 40% of that already. We've used more Patriots in 40 days than the entire usage of Patriots by the Ukrainians in 4 years. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. And now Zelensky is crying that there are no Patriots, and they basically have to. They're getting slammed. Over 1,000 drones hit them. 1,000 drones and missiles hit them over 36 hours in the last 3 days, or 2.5 days, or one. Yeah. He's got 4 mansions now built in Kiev, evidently. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Another piece I want to throw out here, and a piece of technology over here. United States government is going to push Howard Lutnick to basically ask Micron and Samsung and all our chip manufacturers that are here in the United States to pull back a little bit on the AI demand and make sure that we have enough to operate the economy, making cars and radios and whatever you got for your electronics. So they're going to try to make sure that we have enough for what America needs and that they push forward that way versus being all driven by AI. So that's going to be interesting. So we'll see if that comes together in a letter, because I was waiting for something like that to come out.
Needs to. I feel like we're putting way too many resources. They're like all these companies are just all in on the AI. Oh, we need data centers. We need this. We need that. It's like, all right, you guys get the extra. How about that? And of course they're not gonna, because they pay the most.
Yeah, Sam Altman and OpenAI is going to be your first casualty, in my opinion. Just want to point out that the ATF in the Charlie Kirk murder, it said that the bullet matches the gun, is what they came out with, even though the bullet was majorly deformed and it's hard to tell and blah, blah, blah. But that's their finding. It came from the gun that he fired, supposedly. Another one here. You want to read this for everybody?
Your FBI agents served federal search warrants Wednesday morning at Lancaster City Hall and several other properties as part of a sealed investigation. Federal officials confirmed the searches were judicially approved, but declined to provide specifics, citing affidavits that remain under seal by the court. Lancaster is located in Los Angeles County, approximately 64 miles north of L.A. So where did they go?
They arrested the vice mayor and a couple of the other lieutenants for a big fraud thing that they're digging into. I'm not sure exactly how big it is, but they did go bust in doors in the people's houses and then went to the local city hall. And right now the mayor's standing there saying, I have no idea what is happening. But as we continue on with the FBI being active in California, is quite interesting of the level of fraud that they're finding. So they're out there doing it in Lancaster now. So those are good things. The other thing is, since everybody's talking about the 10 American scientists that have gone missing or died since mid-2024, they asked the White House, and then Trump has made a reply to it, say that they're going to check into it, see if there's any plausibility, and that the people that have nuclear secrets and metallurgy and a whole bunch of other stuff would be very interesting to see these people all disappear at the same time. So even Tim Burchett's saying we should take a look at it. It looks bad. Quick peek into California before we throw it to Rdoc over here. I just wanted to throw out the now and then. of what's going on in California for normal at this time. You can see the mountains of snow, and right now, since it all melted away right here, we have a very strange dry area coming in through California right now. So this is not good. All this stuff had basically disappeared a month or so ago, which brings to California to the super El Nino that we're going to get. There's a good little picture right there for everybody. So they're talking high winds, deserts, sometimes, and then huge amounts of rain with the Pineapple Express going right into California. Fire season, rains, mudslides, the whole thing is not going to turn out very good for California this year. So Super El Nino is not working out pretty good with all this warm water being pushed up against the California coast. So yeah, it's going to get interesting for us over here for our crazy, wacky weather. So watch the water as we get down into summertime. Rdoc, you ready?
Gonna be hotter?
I'm ready.
It's going to be hotter.
You want
this
to do a
year,
quick commercial? Oh yeah.
Is that what El Nino means? It's going to be hotter, or
it's just a bunch of warm water that powers the engine that turns on storms. So either we're going to get super dry weather and like fires and winds and all those sort of things, or we're going to get super soak weather style, like hurricane style stuff could throw over to California is what they're talking about. But we'll see if we can actually get there.
Interesting. All right, let me know what you got for thingies there. Let me refresh.
I have a Cashy one and Sea Mud Apparel and a Rumble wallet. For the top 3 contributors.
Kalshi, I guess.
Yeah, I'll hit the button now. Clicking.
Clickety, clickety.
Break for 30 seconds.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, have you ever watched the news or a big game and thought, I know how this is going to play out? Instead of just tweeting about it, you can actually put those predictions to work with Kalshi. Kalshi is a federally regulated exchange where you trade on real-world events, not stocks. Think questions like, will inflation be higher next month? Will the Fed cut rates? Or will your team make the playoffs? Each market is a simple yes or no contract priced between 1 and 99 cents. And if you're right, it settles at $1. That price is basically the crowd's probability of something happening. So if yes is trading at 75 cents, the market is saying there's about a 75% chance it happens. You can use it to hedge, to speculate, or to just put some skin in the game on what you already follow every day. And right now, they've got a special offer. Trade $10, get $10. Just go to kalshi.com/rumble, deposit and place your first $10 in trades, and Kalshi will give you an extra $10 to use on the platform. So if you've got a take, don't just post it, trade it. Go to kalshi.com/rumble to get started today. That's KALSHI.com/rumble. Boom.
Break for 30 seconds.
And I gotta admit, I didn't really understand how that stuff worked either. Like, I couldn't make heads or tails of that stuff if I wanted to.
That's good. We don't need to get into betting markets like that. Mr. Rdoc, sir, let's pick up your feed.
Already sharing.
American forces, Bing. Okay.
Pop it out. We are watching.
I'm going to bust through some of this stuff pretty fast here. So starting out with just some quick things to hit. One, American forces have completely left Syria. The last convoy left. And as they went, they burned any kind of equipment that they could not take with them. So we burned our bases. Now all of these are now officially in Syrian Armed Forces control. The Jalani forces have entered the bases. So yeah, as we were talking about here, the ISIS, the former al-Nusra arm of Al-Qaeda, has now taken over our bases completely.
Well, it's not like we left, like, what is it, 46 billions in Bagram Air Base? I mean, nothing like that.
Much better. But this is 12 years of blood and treasure and in fighting with Hezbollah against ISIS. And now ISIS is now in control after we removed Assad with Israel and Turkey. This is how this thing works. And now Europe. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I feel like they made it.
All right, there you go.
I really do. I don't know. Something's weird about that.
It could be. Yeah, it could be. All right. This one, Hulkinator dropped here, which just just really quick. Supposedly, there's something called the Pantheon corruption scandal in France that involves Macron, and they tried to raid Macron's office related to an investigation starting in October 2025. And they were denied entry and so on and so forth. I don't know really too much about this, but we'll keep an eye on it. Didn't really see any other news stories about this, but yeah, so Macron.
Last comment you want to read?
Yeah, the French presidency refused to let investigators enter the Élysée Palace on Tuesday as part of a probe into contracts linked to memorial ceremonies invoking the immunity enjoyed by French President Emmanuel Macron. Now, just interestingly, Mertz, who I don't really have any stories on today, although he was in the news this week, trying to get 4.6 billion of the 90 billion loan that they hope they will get approved going to Ukraine, coming back into Germany and putting Germany into a war economy like we're doing the U.S. Between Mertz, Macron, and Starmer, the three largest economies in Europe, their approval rating combined is below 50%. So, yeah, more Europeans hate these leaders than love them. Isn't that amazing? All right, so related to the European Union, today we got news.
I was chuckling to see her back online, by the way.
Oh, she's been waiting. She's been anticipating Hungary's demise. We got Hungary coming up here in a second. So as soon as Hungary goes bye-bye, they start pushing for the new vote structure in the European Union and this new app, because it's all about the kids. Got to keep the kids, off of certain online platforms and social media. Can't have the kids on social media because that's where they get influenced, right? So the new age verification app is ready for use, and it's coming, folks. Anybody, traveling, visitors, passing through, you want to get on the internet, you have to get age verified to be able to use this is how they're going to do it. They're going to push it through the social media apps to enforce this. But you don't have to use the EU app. But the EU app is, well, we'll just listen to this lovely woman talk about it.
Age verification app is technically ready and soon available for citizens to use. So this app will allow users to prove their age when accessing online platforms, just like shops ask for proof of age for people buying alcoholic beverages in a shop. First, it is user-friendly. You download the app, you set it up with your passport or your ID card. You then prove your age when accessing online services. Second, it respects the highest privacy standards in the world. Users will prove their age without revealing any other personal information.
We'll just stop right there. Okay. I got to have my passport scanned, and I don't have to give any private information to prove who I am. Okay. What's the background of this app? Oh, it's open source. It's open source. So all our global partners can implement it. Works on all devices. Okay, isn't this grand? Okay.
It's in beta.
It took 2 minutes to break it. It's in beta, but it's ready to be used, she says. And it's ready to be used by anybody. So it was cracked in 2 minutes. In 2 freaking minutes.
So baby.
Go ahead.
Just as a heads up of what they're doing with that app is they're basically deleting the detail where it shows the PIN number. And then when he logs back into it after already setting up the account, he can log in with a different PIN number. And then it's the same account. So you could change the PIN number. Basically, you can make any account you ever wanted to on there and it'd be authorized. But again, it's beta stage.
So again, talking about Anthropic and Palantir on our side of the pond, this is all part of their effort to, take control of social media, make sure that people can't say what they don't want to say because they're losing power. They're very unpopular over there, and they need to shut down talk, censorship, and whatnot. That's how you maintain your power is in an autocratic regime. That's the first thing to go. All right, so that's the goal. Oh, we promised we're not going to keep the data. You don't have to use our app, but really they're going to force that. This is in trial stages. They're going to start with the minors, then they're going to move to more forcible controls. That's what's going on. Now, you either have your passport or your ID card. You don't got one of those? Well, you can go into a bank or a trusted service provider. Okay, so somebody there then would check your passport, look at you, and verify your ID, and then you're ready to go. And then anytime you go into this app, into the social media or some sort of website, it will ask you, okay, we'll link your app, and it's already verified. Now, I will tell you that McAfee was working on privacy, what's called governance privacy, and the way they were doing it was using the blockchain and what's called a cryptographic governance token. So in a similar fashion, but you control it, and no information goes. You would validate your identity, but now the database that maintained that initially is cryptographically secured. So that information is now locked away behind, pretty tight deals. You could still probably crack it, but you got to be a government and you got to have some supercomputers to crack it. Okay, so moving on from that, because that's not the only thing the European Union is doing now that Hungary, they think they've got on their pockets. They are going to push to have the rules changed in the European Union so that they have majority decisions instead of unanimous decisions. Remember, the European Union is a economic bloc, an economic voting bloc, and they used to have to require 100% approval on all decisions, and then it has to go to the parliaments of the respective countries to vote on certain proposals that the union was proposing, and then when they approved it, it would come back. That's how it works now. Now she wants to change that law so they go to a majority of member states. Why? Because they can't get certain things done that they want to do, like build an EU army, create a European Union NATO without America, which is kind of funny because NATO is the United States. They offer hardly anything. We'll talk about NATO in a second, hopefully. So she's trying to ramrod this through right now because they have an opportunity before any of their other leaders fall. They think that they can get this approved by all the member states. Of course, poor Fico in Slovakia may be the only one standing. I say maybe because there may be a dark horse in this race we'll talk about in just a second. I don't know if you covered did you cover this story, Hulk? I grabbed this earlier.
Oh, I didn't see this.
Yeah, so the court decision was to refund. Okay, well, the process is just about ready to go. And so launching on April 20th, the importers across 53 million shipments are eligible to start getting over $127 billion worth of refunds that have been requested to be returned. Will start being returned and refunded. Now, if this is 166 billion, you remember they're talking about 200 billion and 300 billion. Well, some of the tariffs are okay; they're legal, so we get to keep some of that money. But the 200 and 300 and plus billion that we were talking about, that we're going to fund some of the domestic agenda items that the administration initially had when it came in. Yeah, that we're running into more deficit. We're going to have to find the money somewhere else. Well, it doesn't matter anyway, because certain Medicare, Medicaid, and other things are going to be pushed into lower priority as we have to shift into a war economy. In $1.5 trillion just for the military, we're at about $1 trillion this year for total spending, including defense, pure military, including discretionary spending for the intelligence community, and then on top of that, there's an additional 200 billion that has been requested specifically for the Iranian war to continue, if Congress approves that, and then So that we're somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.2 trillion. But next year it's 1.5 trillion just for the military. And that doesn't include the intelligence community, and that doesn't include any kind of discretionary spending, and doesn't include money for Ukraine, which is specifically out of the budget request for next year. So if there is a congressional request for additional funding for Ukraine, it's going to have to be on top of that. $1.5 trillion is already 1/5, 20% of our entire budget. So
Hey,
that's huge. That's
well,
huge, guys.
quick
Go ahead.
question. How big of a check do you think Howard Lutnick's getting out of that?
Lutnick? They're I don't know, man. I know they made all their money off to the side. What are you talking about?
I just want to throw that out there. He's going to get a chunk of that money there. That's just point that out. Give him the kids.
I don't know if you guys talked about Zampoli last week, but in the UK, Mandelson and all those guys, and in Norway and elsewhere, they've anyone that was even close to Epstein, they kicked them out. But Lutnick's still there, Zampoli's still there. I don't know who else is still there. Zampoli's really a bad dude, and the more you dig into him, which I don't know if you guys have dug into him, do a dig, people, do a dig on this guy, because he was the guy that when you have a visa and you have to come to the United States, all these little models that are promised all these jobs, but they're really being brought in to basically be escorts for millionaires and billionaires. And hey, that's a great deal. That's a great gig if you can get it. He was their financial support listed on their visa, and he provided them housing and financing and potential employment. That's necessary to be able to be admitted into the country. And they lived at his house, like 20 or 30 of them. And he married one of them, shacked up with one of them, got her pregnant, and has a 15-year-old son. And then the rest is history, which you guys can go research. Okay, but anyway, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so the tariff money is going back. Okay, moving on. This was an interesting comment from Jerome Powell, and we're going to talk about the financial system, but Claude Mythos is a real risk, they're saying, and both Powell and Besant are having meetings, or have had multiple meetings with banks, because they're very concerned that there's a risk that the banking institutions will be completely hacked to pieces by use of things like Claude Mythos. So it's worth keeping an eye on and digging into.
I heard that Mythos was going to be released to the DoD and another government agency shortly.
Maven. I know Maven is. I don't know about Mythos.
Maven, sorry. Yeah, Maven, not Mythos, sorry.
But Mythos is probably same thing as well. I mean, this is AI, and basically what AI is doing is you don't have to know how it works. You don't have to know the underlying programming languages. You can just, follow steps 1, 2, 3 at a high level and do some very high level cracks and hacks and things like that very, very powerful, very deadly. Briefly, China. So this is Sheng Liwen, and she traveled to China this past week and visited with Xi Jinping. Now, who is she? Well, she is, I'm going to say Kuomintang. That's Hinkle's way of trolling. She is the opposition party in Taiwan. So there is always the politics of Taiwan is different. I'm not going to go into it. I don't have time to it. Just understand that they have their political elites that back sometimes both sides of their political establishments. And so what's happening in Taiwan is that the political elite have watched what has happened in Iran, have watched what has happened in Ukraine, they've watched what has happened in Syria, and they do not want Taiwan to go through this mess. They can see how the United States came in, can't get the job completely done, and they don't want their country left in absolute devastated Stone Age ruin. And so they're all concerned on both sides. Well, she took that and they used to have dialogue on a regular basis with China, mainland China, and they went and talked about how can we get to some sort of a solution and do so before something starts happening, because things are happening in the Philippines and Thailand related to the global World War III that's happening in the financial world, which we're going to talk about here in just a second. All right. These are my final thoughts, because I'm going to have to go no matter what the time is and know more where I'm at in 42 minutes. All right. This is Q Post 4462. I'm going to just read this out here. Division is man-made. Division is designed to keep you powerless. Division is designed to keep you fighting each other. Division is designed to keep you enslaved. The narrative has you. No one person is above another. Not Christian, not Muslim, that's division. No one person is above another. Unity, oneness, is strength. Unity is love. Unity is humanity. Trust yourself. Think for yourself. Only when good people collectively come together will positive change occur. It doesn't say governments. It doesn't say anything about parties. Well, that's one of my final thoughts. All right. Post 3906, and it's again repeated in post 3038. Okay. And this is interesting. Somebody else want to read this really quick?
Where you want to start? The whole thing? Decide
Yeah,
for
the whole
yourself.
freaking thing.
All right, so these are all saying decide for yourself, and I'm just going to read the parentheses part. So 6 of them in a row. Be free from outside opinion. Be objective in your conclusions. Be true in your own beliefs. Be open to following the facts. Be strong in defending your beliefs. Be resistant to blindly accepting factless statements. Those who attack you, those who mock you, those who cull you, those who control you, those who label you, do they represent you, or do they represent themselves in some form? Mental enslavement. The Great Awakening, freedom of thought, was designed and created not only as a back channel to the public, away from the long-standing mind control of the corrupt and heavy bias media, to endure future events through transparency and regeneration of individual thought, breaking the chains of groupthink, but, more importantly, aid in the construction of a vehicle, a ship, that provides the scattered freethinkers with a starter, new social networking platform which allows for freedom of thought, expression, and patriotism or national pride. The feeling of love, devotion, and sense of attachment to a homeland alliance with other citizens who share the same sentiment. When non-dogmatic information becomes free and transparent, it becomes a threat to those who attempt to control the narrative and or the stable.
All right, I'll read the next part. When you are awake, you stand on the outside of the stable, group think collective, and have free thought. Free thought is a philosophical viewpoint which holds that positions regarding truth should be formed on the basis of logic, reason, and empiricism. These are Stoic, Hellenistic ideas, by the way. You can go research this stuff. Rather than authority, tradition, revelation, or dogma. When you are awake, you are able to clearly see. The choice is yours and yours alone. Trust and put faith in yourself. You are not alone and you are not in the minority. Difficult truths will soon see the light of day. Where we go one, where we go all. Q. All right, and the next post says the same exact thing, except it does a few little additional details. So
Wait, before you go on.
Yeah.
Tron, you got anything to say about this?
No, it sounds good. I mean, Doc coming up with Q drops. I'm almost like at a different timeline. I don't know. I'm kind of like stunned a little bit right here, but these are those awesome drops that, remind you that where we came from and where we're going, we have to keep this going, and free thought is what it was and what it is. And remember, guys, this is what they try to stop. Doc just played that EU stuff about, all these apps and whatnot, tracking purposes, but this is how they stop you from free thought. And how do they attack love? Well, they get you during the pandemic. They shut down your churches, and they do it that way. And Doc, we all know that the Christian straight male, the family man, that's the true enemy. So stand strong and stand in your beliefs. And most importantly, remember that our boss brought us here with these drops. So let's support him a little bit. Let's not, take a little banana peel on the ice rink here. And remember, difficult truths will soon see the light of day. And whatever that means, guys, we're looking up at the sky. We're going to Artemis. We're going around the moon. Blah blah blah. And we want it all, man. We want the truth. So keep it going.
What you know is an abstract for truth. So what you know is your truth. What each of you know individually is your truth. Collectively, when we used to have consensus building and discussions and arguments, the hive mind, we were bringing our truths and sharing it and taking away bits and pieces of other people's truths, chewing on it, digging on it, validating it, going and digging in, redeveloping our truth and coming back. That's how the hive mind works. That's how consciousness and free thinking works. There is no such thing as absolute truth unless you're talking about the will of God. Now, that's the other thing I guess I'll say is my final thought was you are the news now. What's another word for news? Information. What's another word for information?
Propaganda.
Word. Hold on, word. Okay, so words, logos, actually, in the Greek. And if you know anything about the word logos and how it was used in first century Greek when they were writing certain things about the word, logos was used to describe the will of God, the logos of God, the will. You are the word now. God in you is you. You are the news now. Go share the good news. Go be the news. Go process the news. That's how I'm interpreting this stuff. Whenever I'm looking at all these stories, this is what I don't want you to lose, because both sides, Republican and Democrat, we were warned about. It's neither R nor D. It's neither them nor us. It's neither Muslim or Islam or Christian or Jew. Those are labels. Those are divisions. Those are classifications. The greatest deception is separation. Unity. And unity in God, the logos, the mind, the will, the word of God is, was, and ever will be inseparable. All right, moving on.
So you telling me that's that same guy, that same Muzzy with an explosive C4 chest strap is the same as me?
Yep.
I am him and he is me. We're all experiencing physicality here on this planet.
What you choose to do in the moment of this amazing gift is what you choose to do in the moment. And it's all in illusion. That's the thing that people always, physical's real. Nope. That's the greatest mystery of all. Okay, Viktor Orban, Hungary. So Viktor Orban, the big election happened over the weekend and he lost. He didn't just lose, he got slammed. 138 seats in parliament were lost. I think they came out with like 21 or something. And so, yeah. So Viktor Orban called to congratulate Peter Magyar on his election victory. And the European Union was happy. Elon Musk says Soros organization has taken over Hungary because Alex Soros was all happy. And Eva Vlardingerbrock, that little hottie blonde from whatever, you remember her? Okay, she says, looks like the last bastion is gone. The Hungarians are about to learn the true meaning of you don't know what you got till it's gone. Okay, so the supermajority TISA, the new party, will be capable of constitutional change.
Oh, good.
They can change how a future presidents are elected, how PMs are elected, they can change a lot of stuff, including pushing stuff through that the EU wants to do to change the judiciary, to change the religious system that has said no gays, because they're a very Catholic country, very Jewish country still. And they can change all those laws now that they've been trying to push into Hungary. And so that's the big concern. Ursula von der Leyen, she was smiling and snickering so much the day that it happened. Oh my God, she was so happy. Hungary has chosen Europe. Europe has always chosen Hungary. The country reclaims its European path. Union grows stronger. Hungary has chosen Europe. Okay, whatever. You get the idea.
She may have wet her pants.
She's freaking out. Mario Nafal had an interesting post. Orban just lost Hungary after Vance flew in to campaign for him. Now, we and Americans might think, it was great. And I would have thought that pre-Iran. Post-Iran, Europeans not so much happy with Donald Trump. They're facing huge increases in energy and food costs over here, and they're not very happy with Israel. And so there's a lot of animosity, and so having Trump in your corner ain't necessarily a good thing when you're traditional European, right? Especially an EU European, a Brusselite or whatever. And so they think it may have actually hurt him. Anyway, I don't know. Regardless, European conservatives like AfD, FPO, etc., they're starting to distance themselves from Washington and Tel Aviv, and that is very true. Alice Weidel made comments about Israel that we would think like, oh my God, why? So just FYI on that, we'll take it and we'll keep an eye on things. But then we started getting some things like this post. The difference between Fidesz and Tiza is the same as the difference between, this is the Polish political parties. One rabbi says yes, the other rabbi says no. Hey guys, remember, Majar was associated with Fidesz, and now he's Tiza. Same thing with Morawiecki, who was once an advisor to Tusk. Now he's with PIS. So what is this really saying? Okay, when there's pictures of all these guys, and the illusion is, okay, they're still controlled by the Jews, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's not really the key point here. The key point is these two parties here and where he came from. All right, so where did he came from? Oh, he spent 22 years in Orban's party, not just 22 years. He just left in 2024 to start the new party. But he wasn't on George Soros's radar in those 22 years. He was a key lieutenant underneath Orban. Okay, and so let's see what's going on there. So then we started having news like the very first night. Yeah, we'll have to sit down with Russian president. Our geographical position is Hungary. Nothing's going to change right away. Our energy exposure is still here. So we have to make sure we do diversify our energy reliance, blah, blah, blah. But it's not going to happen overnight. We will negotiate with Putin, but we won't become friends. So that started giving some people, oh, okay, yeah, makes sense. And then the word started coming out that, hey, we're not going to back the 90 we're going to stop the guest worker program by June 1st. Wait, what? You're going to be even stronger on migration than Orban was? Oh yeah, we're going to be stronger on we're going to reject the European Union Migration Pact. We're not going to implement it here. Whoa. Flags started going off in Brussels over with van der Leyen, and he says now he is going to not fast-track Ukrainian ascension to the European Union, that Hungary will opt out of that decision, and the 90 billion loan to Ukraine. Hey, Hungary is in a very difficult financial situation. We want the Druzhba pipeline turned back on, and surprise, surprise, as soon as he won, Zelensky said, before he made these comments about the 90 billion loan, he said, oh yeah, we'll have the pipeline operational in about 5 to 7 days. It's not going to be fully operational, but we'll be able to flow oil to you and to the rest of the European Union. Surprise, surprise. Isn't that amazing now that Orban's gone? And then, surprise, surprise, Peter Major says, we're not so fast. We're not going to fast track this 90 billion euro loan. Okay, now that she admitted the pipeline's ready to go, let's get it up and running. And same thing with Slovakia and Fico. Give us the oil, you MFer, and stop screwing us around and stop screwing up the European Union. And by the way, we're still not going to give you the 90 billion loan, or you're still not going to get in the EU. All right, so they're going to continue buying Russian oil. They're not going to do the EU loan. They're against EU accession fast track. They're hoping EU will lift sanctions on Russia and demands Kiev resolve the language law and allow Hungary's minority to legally use Hungarian in the country. Surprise. So, Orban, same stuff. And then
Telling me
this big long post.
Georgie Soros got the switcheroo pulled on him, possibly?
Yeah, so here's the deal. Hungarian chess that makes Brussels cry. Viktor Orban placed his trusted traitor, and the EU falls into the perfect trap, checkmate, that's left Brussels, Soros, and Obama humiliated. He goes into a fairly long post to talk about 5D chess. So, what do you think? What's the situation? Is he going to be, we'll have to stay, but it's popcorn time. Keep your deal.
Did he really
your
poop
popcorn
himself?
close. No, that's a fake. Hulk and I were looking at that.
Well, there's a
and
video.
They found the video.
But if you look down below, somebody says that's a fake AI, but they're like, this one's real, and it's a picture from a distance.
Well, there's a
with the soil
picture
pants.
of a person with shorts, and what they did is they transposed those shorts onto his shorts to make it look like he diarrheaed himself in church or whatever. Okay, Pope stuff to get through really fast. Okay, so back in May 25, hey, President Donald Trump congratulated the Pope. Yeah, it's great to have an American Pope. Great honor. I can't wait to meet you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Great. J.D. Vance. Hey, I got a new book coming out. It's all about how I converted to Catholicism. And this is going to be, my memoir that talks about, the faith and what it means to be a Catholic. Okay. Well, the church might have something to say about that. But anyway.
Another big deal.
But then, and this is the National Catholic Reporter, folks. This is April 10th. Okay. Then we get this story of how Colby called in a meeting with one of the nuncios, the outgoing apostolic nuncio, to meet with him back on January 22 of this year, and they started having some discussions, and evidently there was a lot of issues that were raised, and
it was like having a vegetarian at a barbecue.
So why is a Catholic nuncio being called into a defense meeting? Okay, what's going on here? What's is there a bunch of stuff about this that needs to be dug into? And I would encourage you to dig into it. So late April 9th, the U.S. Embassy, the Holy See, published a thread annexing Pierre had spoken to Brian Birch, U.S. Ambassador to Holy See, after a Free Press report was published. According to the thread, Pierre allegedly told Birch the media's portrayal of the meeting does not reflect what happened, and it was just invented to make the story. So there's some stuff here. Had a substantive, respectful, and professional meeting. There was no argument with the Defense Department. That's being distorted. But what really was being talked about? Military power to do whatever it wants was what the Pentagon supposedly warned the Vatican. And the Catholic Church should take its side. Okay. So this began on April 10th. Now, there were some things that started to happen earlier related to immigration. All right, then we get this post, which everybody and their dog is talking about. And I think I can make it bigger here. Now, you guys tell me what you see, and then I'll come and say what I see.
I see Donald Trump waking up John F. Kennedy Jr. from a long slumber.
I see I see Donald Trump making lefties with purple hair rage about how Donald Trump's imitating Jesus, which they don't even believe in, and drawing attention to the Pope and all that kind of stuff, and also a healer. But master in trolling, DJT, love it.
Okay. So, Hulkinator?
I like the trolling.
Okay. So there's been a lot of speculation about who this guy is. Everybody from Epstein dead, being raised from the dead, to the JFK thing, to just somebody that's sick in bed, whatever.
Brett
You've
Favre.
got a woman praying. Okay.
Brett Favre.
Classic picture of an American conservative woman, praying. You got a nurse who's definitely in healing, looking on in awe and amazement. A soldier being looking on, maybe looks like a farmer or a trucker. I can't really see what the hat says in this particular image. You definitely have some soldiers in the clouds, or what look to be like soldiers because they look like they're wearing helmets and stuff like that. An angel with clearly with wings, whatever. And then you have what are classic iconograph Shekinah glory rays coming out of the clouds, as in a second coming depiction, which is iconoclastic. And of course, the eagles and the American jets, and then looks like almost angelic versions of jets flying in the sky as well. And of course, the American flag in the background, the Statue of Liberty, which I don't want to get into what that represents right now in this deal. But then you have, and if you aren't familiar with the 1950 movies, or was it 40s? I can't remember now, of Jesus wearing the red robe, and the Centurion movies about the red robe and what the red robe signifies, then I don't know, maybe go watch those movies. But what I see is what's called the Shekinah glory, or that is associated with healing. A lot of people have said, oh, there's no halo, there's no rays on the head, etc., like that. Okay. But the Shekinah glory is the power, the healing power that, once occupied between the wings of the cherubim, was now available upon Pentecost, day of Pentecost, to be like fire on above the heads of the apostles, and in healing is demonstrating the flow of God's healing power, Shekinah glory, into the broken vessel, the sick vessel, the human body, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so that's how I see this. And so anybody can interpret this any way that you want. Okay, is he a doctor in this image? Where if he was a doctor, you'd have a stethoscope or something like that. If he's a healer, a faith healer, well, Simon Magus was a healer as well. In the stories of Escapulus, there was more miracles of healing done than in the story of Jesus in the gospel.
He's talking about med beds, dude. Star Trek stuff's coming out, dude. We know that's coming.
So then we started getting the news about this conflict, and we got this post about Pope Leo. Trump wasn't happy about Pope Leo because his comments on immigration definitely pissed off the Trump administration. And so we get this long post about Pope Leo, and some things here. I don't want a pope who thinks it's terrible that America attacked Venezuela. I don't want a pope who criticized the president of the United States because I'm doing exactly what I was elected in a landslide to do, setting record. Okay, so this is self-aggrandizement. I created this greatest stock market in history. I did this. He's attacking me. Okay, I didn't see where he attacked Donald Trump personally, but if he interpreted that, probably there. Okay. Leo should be thankful because everybody knows he was a shocking surprise. He wasn't on any list to be pope and was only put there by the church because he was an American. They thought that would be the best way to deal with me. If I wasn't in the White House, Leo wouldn't be in the Vatican. He owes me. He's in his position because of me. Unfortunately, Leo's weak on crime, weak on nuclear weapons does not set well with me. Nor does the fact that he meets with Obama sympathizers like David Axelrod, a loser from the left, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So a lot of Christians, a lot of Catholics, a lot of people are around the world are interpreting this like, why? Why do you even have to say this? Why do you have to sound like an emperor in the early days of the around 200 300s CE fighting with the Pope? Because this is what it almost, if you read the stories, it almost sounds exactly like this. It's really weird. Okay, now, is it trolling? Is it serious? Is something else going on? Very possibly. And people can interpret this any way they want to. I see a lot of me defense in here and a lot of you bad, you bad, you bad, which is typical for Trump posts. This is what he does. It's not a surprise. But what's a surprise is you just killed the supreme clerical leader of the Shia Muslims, and then now you're attacking essentially the vicar of Christ, the embodiment of the spirit that's supposed to be the flesh into the papal, role,
Supposed to be.
Supposed to be, right?
Well, when he says things like Islam is a religion of peace we can learn from, those who are against immigration target Muslim needlessly. Maybe he has a problem with all the Muslim stuff he's doing. And,
I would also like to quickly point out that David Axelrod showed up the day before all this stuff blowed up. David, that's Obama's confidant, who's not a Christian and has never been to the Catholic Church ever. And he goes and meets the Pope for the first time, and then this all blows up. I'm just saying.
A problem with that. That's why I'm wondering why we don't have a problem with that.
So the issue is one of political, but the problem is it's in the religious dogma space. And that's why I read that post out before about dogma. Okay. Separation, division, dogma. We all know the problems with the Catholic Church. Oh, I can go a lot farther. I can go a lot further into the history.
Just the Pope itself, he has a long history of kind of being a leftist and attacking Trump. You're going all the way back to 2016.
We can talk about lots of other popes and lots of other presidents too.
Well, I'm just saying he deleted his Twitter account a couple of days ago.
Popes throughout history have always been involved in politics. And when you go back to when the Piso-Flavians were the popes, okay, back in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd centuries, they fought each other and then started having schisms because they were fighting each other for control of the politics. And you go into the Middle Ages and into the 1400s, and oh my God, now you're supporting different kings and fighting each other and financing wars. The church and the Pope as Pontifex Maximus, which was a role held by the emperor, which means the bridge between God and man. It was a title and a responsibility held by the emperor. The emperor was God incarnate and therefore held that title, and the pontifex, the other pontiffs, were part of the sacred cult of Rome. I can go into a lot of history here about why the Pope is not good. Okay, that's not the issue I'm trying to get at here. The perception of people that believe that this is an attack on the church rather than an attack on a man. Okay, because they can't distinguish between the two because they're believers. Just as a Shia Muslim views an attack on Ayatollah Khomeini as not just an attack on the person, but an attack on their faith. This is the point I'm trying to get to. This is who advised him that this was a good idea. Is this another Susie Wiles not advising the president to not do this type of thing? Because just like she did with the decision to attack Israel, she said in the piece, which I have somewhere here, oh, I was silent. I didn't feel it was my place. I told him, I can talk to you about it one-on-one privately, but in this setting, no, that's exactly your role as the chief of staff, to be the political advisor when you're talking to defense, when you're talking about war, when you're talking about these decisions, to give political advice and how it might be perceived. That's exactly your role. That's your only purpose for being there. And she said, no, I was silent. I kept silent. I didn't give my opinion. Okay. Is this another issue where she's not giving her opinion before this kind of post goes out and creates the shitstorm? Okay. So this is what I'm concerned about here. And that's the point I'm trying to make. And when I go back to the division post, is there somebody in all the king's men that is intentionally trying to harm the administration? That's my biggest concern. A reporter asked, hey, why'd you attack the Pope? I'm not a fan of the Pope. Okay, so that's not going away. It doesn't keep going away. And then we get the Pope's response. I don't fear Donald Trump or the administration. Speaking out loudly in the message of the gospel, what I believe I'm here to do, what the church is here to do. We are not politicians. We don't. Okay, so he's playing the message. I'm the peacemaker. I'm the real peacemaker. You say you're the peacemaker, but you're making war, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we got this battle going on in the space. All right. Trump, but same thing. I believe I'm here to do and what the church is here to do, which is preach the message of the gospel. We are not politicians. We don't deal with foreign policy the same perspective. Now, I will say this. This goes to the immigration. Hulk and I were talking about this earlier. The church's attitude about political refugees don't have borders, and they haven't had borders for hundreds and hundreds of years. If you were a criminal, even fleeing from a sheriff in another county, and you crossed the borders into another place and took refuge and claimed sanctuary in the church granted you sanctuary. Nunneries did this, monasteries did this. This is not something new.
So they'll have to climb over the wall in Rome before they get to a place to stay, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Just want to make sure we're good.
Yeah, the hypocrisy is there, people. Don't get me wrong.
And he lost me when he started doing the LGBTQ thing, and I was done with it. And then he did the whole communion with the Muslim group yesterday or whatever it was, and I was like, what?
Yeah, so we got, you thought, okay, well, Trump deleted the tweet or whatever, one of the tweets he did, the image, this image tweet. But then he doubled down, and somebody he reposted what somebody else had posted, which was Jesus now embracing Trump, and this image, you got the Shekinah glory again around the both of them. Now this image to me is like, that's perfectly awesome. Jesus is on my side. He's holding me. This is something what we traditionally as Christian believers would think, okay, God is walking with me, and when I don't walk, I don't see my footsteps in the sand, it's because Jesus is holding me and carrying me, right? That whole thing. So Jesus is there on my shoulder, etc. And we got exactly. Then we got Franklin Graham just yesterday on tax day, and he said some things that I thought was interesting. There's so much ill-intended speculation. I think his enemies are always foaming at the mouth, and yeah, that's true. They're going to use anything against him, and if he gives them ammunition, they will use it against him. And sometimes he does that on purpose to troll, and we all know this stuff. But he thought the AI generated image was represented. He thought it was a doctor helping someone, and when he learned. Okay, Franklin Graham, stop being an apologist. I like the fact that in this picture, Jesus is whispering in his ear, at least his hand on his shoulder. Okay, perfect. Yeah, absolutely. We all need this. We need to be listening to Jesus. I think there's an attempt to spin this to something that isn't. Okay, very true. This comment here, though, there was no spiritual references. Well, then he doesn't know the meaning, which he does very well, about the robe, because he's talked about it. No halo. Okay, you don't have to have a halo. A halo is an early iconoclast. There were no crosses, no angels. It was the flag, soldiers, nurse, fighter planes, eagles. It wasn't. It was. Was that an eagle or was that an angel coming out of the clouds of lights? Okay, yeah, okay. So he's kind of really spitting this, which you don't need to do. You just don't need to do it. Okay. Now in Cameroon, where they paused the fighting between the government-backed troops against the colonialist-backed folks. They stopped the fighting to allow the Pope's visit to Cameroon, which is like the first time in a long time. And he made this statement, which the media picked up on. A lot of people picked on and started picking on him for something he said. Oops.
Of God for their own military, those who manipulate religion in the very name of God for their own military, economic, or political gain, dragging that which is sacred into darkness and filth. The masters of war pretend not to know that it takes only a moment to destroy. Yet often, a lifetime is often not enough to rebuild. They turn a blind eye to the fact that billions of dollars are spent on killing, on devastation, yet the resources needed for healing, education, and restoration are nowhere to be found. The world is being ravaged by a handful of tyrants, yet is held together by a multitude of supportive brothers and sisters. They are the descendants of Abraham, as numerous as the stars in the sky and the grains of sand on the seashore.
Now, a couple of very important things that I heard in here, and if you know the scripture and whatever, this might have clued into you too. First of all, he said a handful of tyrants are doing this. This could be interpreted to be Putin. This could be interpreted to be Khomeini and the Iranians. This could be interpreted to be Bibi. This could be interpreted to be Trump. This could be interpreted to be Maduro. Okay, they are destroying things. They're making decisions to go to war and to do things and to break things and to kill people. Okay, that's what war is. And as a representative of the Church of Jesus, the primary pacifist, right? Turn the other cheek. His message can't be supporting war. Should it? Can it? Popes in the past have, by the way. And he's not. Okay? He's against it. He's making a message to the people of Cameroon specifically who are in the midst of war, and to the rest of the world generally, to be able to hear this message that says the church isn't for these wars, okay? But the politics behind it is what is deeper digging that people have to get to over both of these comments. So Trump fired back at him.
Very important. Nice not to say it. Iran killed 42,000 people that were totally unarmed. They were protesters.
So he repeated this falsehood, which has been proven false now. And if you still believe this number, sorry, go dig some more.
Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. If they did, every country, including Italy, where he's stationed, every single country in the world would be in trouble. So we're doing very well with respect to that.
So again, the nuclear weapon, can't have a nuclear weapon narrative being thrown out there. So by reverse argument, you have to think that the Pope wants Iran to have a nuclear weapon in order to believe this argument.
Having to do with the whole situation on Iran, the blockade is amazing. It's holding up very strong, very powerfully. And I think we're making a lot of progress in that. But the Pope has to understand Iran, very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
Okay, so Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon is the message you are to take away. Also breaking this week, the Catholics have reached majority in religion in the United States. This is something new. 52%, officially making them the largest and growing fast religion in the United States. That's a very interesting thing. Protestants, for the longest time, it has been the Protestants that have had that edge. Interesting note that came out this week. Mike Johnson said some things talking about the war doctrine. And he said the Pope doesn't understand the just war doctrine. Now, most Americans aren't going to understand the just war doctrine. Go dig it. because this is a religious doctrine. And it's a religious doctrine that doesn't just come out of nowhere, it comes out of Augustine. And Augustine, then going all the way back to Hippo, and these discussions were being held because of what Rome was doing and so on and so forth, and the empire and how the church was supposed to deal with this. And Augustine's religious order invented the doctrine of the just war doctrine. And guess who was the head of the Augustinian order? Oh, Leo. So to have him say he doesn't understand just war doctrine is an intentional slight, and it's obviously false, and maybe he doesn't know and he's stupid. But bottom line is, this is a political battle because they know the constituents in their respective states are going to listen to what the church says. The church helps get people elected, just as Protestant ministers, evangelical ministers help get people elected, just as black ministers help get people elected. The church in general, just the general word, not the Catholic Church necessarily, has a tremendous political power, and this is important for the upcoming midterms. Do not think it's not the case. This is why this is still a big deal. Now, the Iranians have picked up on this. As a matter of fact, Foreign Minister Arachi said right as soon as the fighting started breaking out, and the image of Trump and kind of being portrayed in this image here, Arachi knew immediately what it was, and he came out because in the Muslim faith, Jesus Christ is not just this minor prophet, he's a major prophet. He is a very holy man that the Jews rejected. And the Pope, as his embodiment and holy cleric, is also a holy man, and they respect that. They acknowledge that. And so when they see this blasphemy against Jesus Christ in this iconoclastic image, of which images and idolatry and stuff like that are still very much verboten, okay, they get upset. So they have a huge PR information warfare campaign going on with the Legos. And if you haven't seen these, well, you're one of the few that haven't, because they've been hugely viral and they've been going all over the place. And this post about Jesus and the Pope was not isolated, and it was something that was very, very catchy. And there's a reason for it when you listen to it. I'm not going to play the whole thing.
Again.
I'm basically blocking this because this military stupid channel 100% gave me a copyright flag, so it will be gone. You're basically missing somebody singing at this point. He's the plastic king. It's kind of stupid sounding.
Got a catchy tune behind it. It's Legos talking about the plastic man pretending to be a priest, blah, 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 blah. Okay, this is not the only one. There's been lots of these videos made, and they're getting millions and millions and millions of views. And this is the information war. I don't know about awesome. They are good, effective PR. Propaganda is, I guess, the way I'm trying to say it. So this is affecting youth. Youth is watching this. It's catchy. It's catching on. The tune is catchy. And this is also another big concern.
Doc, this is garbage. Like, with all due respect, I've never seen any of this over here because the Europeans can't meet.
Never seen it.
Trash. This dude has 30,000 subs. This is not going to, help Donald Trump lose the election, bro. This is
no. Dude, if you don't know that this thing has, if you don't realize this thing has had 100 million views.
It's trash.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. The rest of the world is watching.
I don't know if you guys are catching this as well, but he is just so far gone. Just gone. He needs to come back to America at this point.
propaganda, they're doing propaganda. And their propaganda may be doing better than us in the world because it is having an effect. And we'll just jump ahead to that and we'll have to end there. So we're attacking NATO. We're attacking NATO. NATO's bad. They won't let us use our bases. And the Russians are coming. The Russians are coming. Oh, we're going to stop the Russian Shadow Fleet tankers, but then we back off as soon as we see some destroyers accompanying the tankers, and the Europeans are saying, no, we won't do it. We won't do it anymore. But hey, Israel, we won't do anything to support Israel. We're going to officially block any NATO operation targeting Strait of Hormuz. This is official Spain policy. Trump's upset with Spain. But Turkey is also having a fight with Israel, and Netanyahu and Erdogan are going at it. They're going at it pretty hard and heavy. If they don't stop playing with fire, et cetera, we're going to do some stuff, and even some posts that may or may not be fake, talking about how we might go in and attack Israel. Israel's no longer ahead in American Middle East sympathies, according to Gallup. First time since 2003. Negative views of Israel. Netanyahu continued to rise among Americans, especially young people. These are concerns that the Israeli
This is exactly what we want.
Guys are definitely worried about.
Exactly what we want.
And in Germany, this little article was interesting. After criticism, the government lifts permit requiring foreign travel for the time being. So the Germans that we talked about that were going to prevent young men from leaving until they registered. So you couldn't go if you were going to wait for 3 months. You had to let the military know because they were going to recruit you and maybe draft you. Well, that didn't last long. The law got suspended. It didn't go away, it got suspended. But in the UK, they're definitely working towards the European NATO, and this is what's happening. They're creating a new NATO. Macron and all these guys are getting together, realize America's not going to be there, and they're going to go create their own NATO, which is going to suck. It's going to take more resource out of their economy, and they're working on this major plan because they have this idea that by 2030, they're going to go attack Russia. And so that's that. The last thing I need to leave you on is this whole issue of no nuclear weapons in the Strait and blocking the Strait and the breakthroughs and so on and so forth. Just to take you on the idea, on the 26th of February, we got breakthroughs. Amman making statements that came out in March, but the mediator said that, oh, Iran has agreed. We got a breakthrough. That Iran is going to stop nuclear weapons. They're going to give up their enrichment programs for like 10 or 3 years, depending on the level of enrichment. And all their stockpiles are either going to be allowed to degrade in third-party hands or be held by third parties, but not the U.S. They don't trust the U.S. because they saw what happened in Libya, etc. That was on the 28th of February that news broke. What day did we do the strikes? Israel, 28th of February. Okay, and we just recently turned down the Russians again, saying we'll hold the nuclear material. Okay, well, that 28th of Israel attack happened because Rubio said, somewhere I've got that article. I know I dropped it because I posted it somewhere. Maybe it was back over here. Yeah, no. Rubio said, Rubio said this.
If we stood and waited for that attack to come first before we hit them, we would suffer much higher casualties. And so the president.
All right, guys, I apologize. I have to get going. I do have to cut this at 12 o'clock, and I did let him know, and I am not going to just let that continue for another 2 minutes to let him talk more crap about Trump and the administration. I've pretty much just had it with that stuff. So hopefully you guys will forgive me for that. And of course, you guys can absolutely go over to Hulk or Tron's side of things if you would like to hear them say their parting words. But of course, I do have to wrap it up as I'm trying to get along, let's put it that way, with my soon-to-be ex-roommate. So, Eddie Block Films, thank you for rating the stream. Again, OH58 Captain, thank you for that rant. Darth Vader's mom, thank you for the coffees that you sent over that I pinned earlier, and Greg3012 for the stream before. And I didn't see this one either. Cyrus the Great sent a $2 Rumble rant apparently on the previous show. Said you can build your own weather balloons or hobby rockets, which the high dollar rockets, not the Estes Walmart rockets, and attach a non-fisheye non-fisheye camera, which they exist, and you can see the damn curve. Ooh, Cyrus. Watch next time I get Ghost on there. We were wrapping up that show, so I didn't want to basically argue with him too much, but I've been sending him some stuff in between, which is like, why do they always have all these issues with the plushies? Why can't we see through objects that are supposed to be not see-through? I don't understand that. And I will also tell you to go check out, there's a guy and his son out of California. They launched their own weather balloons as well. And they've taken that exact same kind of prescription that you said, but did it a little bit more professionally. And I think they got up to like 120,000 feet or something like that. And I'll be damned, flat as a pancake. But don't take my word for it. I will, if for those of you who are listening and want to watch later, I will track down that video as soon as this video is done, and I will put it in the comments of this video. So not the live comments, it'll be the regular comments after we're done. Let me just see here. Yes. Yeah, no, I got you there. And they're still going. I can see Hulk still putting the clock symbol out there telling him he's got to go. He told us he had to end at 12 o'clock. I said, oh, that's good because I have to end at 12. So sorry, not doing that just to let him talk crap about President Trump and his administration. Because I don't know if you guys were catching that, but that was all the negativity. Oh, Johnson, Trump, rah, rah. Oh, the United Nations, or, Trump saying they're bad. What, they're not? I mean, that was just a little too ridiculous for my taste. But the overwhelming point on that one was just timing. I, of course, will not be back tomorrow, guys. My noon show for Friday. We switched with Ghost and Armando and Mike for Tuesday at 8. No, don't want to mess it up because I messed it up the other day. Breezy said. So that show is 6 p.m. to 8:30 on Tuesdays. And then, of course, my Monday show will stay at 7 o'clock. I try to make them all at the same time to, you guys kind of get a regular thing going, like, oh, it's 7 o'clock, but some have to do a little bit later, some have to do a little bit earlier, but we're just doing it as best as we can here. So always want to thank the mods out there, and I got to raid somebody. So if you guys know anybody who's live right now, you want me to raid, I will absolutely raid you guys over. I really don't care if it's flat, as long as it's already tomorrow afternoon in China. We should be fine. Yeah, that's a good one, Bamlo. Yeah, be more. That was the plan. On Thursdays, you can cut off and finish yourself when Rdoc gets crazy. And that might be the, prevailing thing going forward. It just stresses me out to hear the negativity, and I'm just shaking my head. And so here's an interesting one, guys. And I can play a little bit of this maybe without having to talk a little, but I thought you guys might find this very interesting. Actually, I'm going to put it in the link so you guys can watch it and listen to it later. Where is it? I gave it to Tron today or yesterday. This is absolutely great. This one here. So I mentioned this on the roundtable with Rambo and Dave earlier. So if we go back, and was this the one? Nope, this is not the one here. So literally, these right here we go. Ding.
The globalists have.
I'm gonna basically share this video with you guys, and this video right here, if you've not seen it, she's literally going over the whole, essentially, the Q plan. But the one minus is these people, her and the rest of the Promethean Action Group, never mention Q ever. Right? So they're seeing all these things that somehow, the Candaces, the Tuckers, and the other people who can't apparently see anything good to what Trump is doing, these people are seeing it, but they're not seeing the same data set as us. So I find that very interesting. So again, guys, thank you to the mods out there. You guys rule. helping myself and many others. Always a big hat tip to Country and the folks over there at Liberty Based News. And I'll probably raid you guys over to them. And again, I'll be back with Mr. Hulkinator at 1 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. And until then, I do appreciate each and every last one of you wonderful world patriots for tuning in out there. And until that next one, I'm not going to play the Table of Titans outro just because I'm going to have to cut it later anyways. You know what? I don't care. I'll just keep it. Till the next one, thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Peace.